Hey, this is Chase Sexton. You're listening to the MotoXpod show.
What's up, you guys? Jeremy McGrath here. You are listening to MotoXpod show.
What's up? We're back with another MotoXpod show this week. It's episode 350 with Colt Nichols, Gage Linville, and Logan Leitzel. The MotoXpod show, as always, is brought to you by VitalMX and presented by Racetech and Yamaha Motor USA. Foxborough has come and gone, and damn, it was a muddy mess. Lots to talk about with that race, including Aaron Plessinger getting a second career win, being the 7th winner of the 2025 Monster Energy AMA Supercross Series. Also, Shane McElrath getting his first 450 podium, Gage Linville's first career podium, Cullen Park's first career podium. Lots of cool stuff to get into. Schedule change. We'll talk about the track, the disaster of a track it was, but whether that made for exciting racing, interesting racing. Plenty to get to tonight on the MotoXpod. First up, though, before we get going, let's introduce our producer, quote unquote, working the cameras, working YouTube. What's up, Scotty?
What's going on? You've got me muted.
Yeah, I got you muted. I didn't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
It's good, man. Got to play some golf today. Just enjoying a Tuesday off that I had, and glad it was sunny, not like it was this weekend at the races.
Didn't bring us any blizzards, though. We left.
I didn't work today.
That's stupid, man. I don't know. I think that should be a requirement. TJ, also in studio.
I mean, requirement, no, but it would be really nice you do something nice for your friends.
It would be. It would be.
Yeah. Not bash them for like the phone that they use. Or,
yeah, well, I mean, droids are stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I said, TJ's in studio. He's not at his dumb job this week, so Chase is out.
Yep.
TJ's in. But yeah, lots to get to in the Yamaha Motor USA opening chat. First up, Yamaha Motor USA has a reputation for dominance. It doesn't happen overnight. It's built over decades. The YZ story is over 50 years of iconic machines and groundbreaking innovations. Yamaha took the championship winning bikes and made them even better because the best don't rest. Check them out at YamahaMotorsports.com, or better yet, go to your local dealership. See everything that Yamaha has to offer, from dirt to street to watercraft. As I say, go to your local music shop. Yamaha pianos, guitars. Yamaha just crushing it all over the place. Yamaha Cooper Webb. What a ride, man. Let's start this Yamaha Motor USA opening chat with a very repetitive topic we've gotten into week after week after week. Chase Sexton, Cooper Webb. The mental side, the race side. Like, honestly, Chase looked a whole lot better during this race. He was better throughout the day. Cooper didn't look very good. But in the end, Cooper gets it done, extends his points lead from, I think, 11 to 15. They're towards the end of it. Well, throughout the whole race, it looked like Cooper was struggling. And somehow, last lap puts in this amazing ride that we don't get to see on TV and beats Chase, gets that lead back. I mean, I feel like we're getting to a point now where it just is Cooper's title.
At the, I guess, 5-minute mark or whatever, the halfway point almost, he was the only one that started sending the finish line. And then he got a couple, like from Kenny, like gifts.
Yeah, and Chase went down and was stuck by the scoring tower
that
forever.
Being said, if he wouldn't have started sending that finish line and that double afterwards every time, then, I mean, he did it every time they had the camera on him. I'm sure he probably missed it a couple of times, but every time they had a camera on him on TV, he was jumping the finish line. Literally nobody else was doing it. So.
Yeah, and he said the last lap he started jumping more than just that. Of course, we didn't get to see it.
Right.
He was jumping a bunch of stuff. He said he saw the number 4 and just like, I'm going for it.
That's awesome.
And started jumping a bunch of stuff. And yeah, and I guess I do want to get into that a little bit about what we saw and didn't see. But overall, though, let's stick with Webb and Sexton. I still don't think that Sexton is mentally beat, but these little mistakes or losses or whatever that have been building up, and then having such a big lead over Cooper at Foxborough and looking so much better in the mud, and then it still doesn't work out. like Scotty, at some point you think this is kind of does start to get to you. Like, man, maybe I just can't get this done.
Yeah, I can see how that would be the next kind of thought. I don't think that Chase is thinking that, because I think ultimately, like I'm starting to kind of stamp this as one of the most impressive championship runs that we may have ever seen, because it's been talked about a lot that Cooper, obviously he has speed, but you could say that point blank he's not as fast as Chase on any given night, and he just finds ways to win. And the ways that he is, like the last couple of rounds, it looked like there's going to be these huge point swings, and then he gets a lead. He opens up his point lead. Like, it's starting to just be that point where you kind of just be like, man, Chase didn't do anything wrong.
No.
Like what are you going to do? It's just that impressive. He's just been that good.
How can we, and it's not just us, but everybody keeps saying, oh, he's just a little bit off the pace of Chase.
Well, look at the lap times and stuff. I mean, that's what it all comes from.
But I mean, but he raced he was able to catch him, you know what I'm talking about, at other rounds and chase him down. So yeah, maybe he doesn't have I don't know what it is, but I guess in a way it's hard for me to think that he doesn't have the speed. He just doesn't.
Who Cooper?
Cooper.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Cooper doesn't show it all the time. I don't know how to word
I think
it.
Raw speed, single lap speed, Chase is usually faster.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Right, but Cooper is crafty. He gets the race skill. And unfortunately, most of the rounds is because Chase has made mistakes of some kind, and Cooper is able to capitalize on that. This particular race at Foxborough, obviously everybody was making mistakes. Chase had the one where he stuck there in the manager's tower, or the scoring tower, that took forever, and that really allowed Coop to catch up. But then Cooper decided, all right, well, I'm going to, this race, Foxborough was an anomaly compared to the others. But it's just another example of another way that Cooper once again beat Chase. And I can only go off how I am. Eventually that would get to me. Like, I'd start thinking, well, what can I do? And I don't think Chase, like I asked Chase, that as far as I saw, didn't do any post-race interviews, but he did talk to some people, and they, he's fine. He wasn't like really upset, or he didn't seem to be mentally off. But like, and again, at some point KTM has to be like, look, dude, you're not getting the job done almost. Like you would, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you're paid to do a job, and it seems like every week for some reason almost something happens where you're not doing that job.
I'm saying that he's not doing anything wrong. It's just Coop
I don't think he's doing anything
being
wrong
that
either.
impressive.
Yeah. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. Like I can't blame him for anything at Foxborough, but other rounds I do feel like Arlington.
Yeah.
Bad choices, crashes on your own, things that, he's happened. Those things, I hope, like, I want this thing to come down to the last round, and I think it will. But I don't want to see this be something that affects Chase long term. And a lot of these guys are affected by these things because they're humans.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that's fair. I don't think that you can say that he's just, I mean, yeah, he's had some mistakes and stuff, but I think Cooper Webb is just being better than him. Yeah. Not faster, but just better at the end of the races, more opportunistic. And, Cooper's got a lot more seasons on Chase. It's come down to an experience thing. And it's just been it's more of Coop being impressive than Chase throwing it away I don't think it'd be fair for KTM to be like, hey, you're not getting the job done. Like, I think he's doing the best that he can. It's just, shit happens, man. Like, Cooper's just cooping.
Some of the shit that happens, though, I feel like Chase brings on himself, like Arlington.
Well, yeah, but he got the points lead, the gap back down after all those.
But that was because Cooper had a bad race in Birmingham.
Well,
that was on Cooper. And then Cooper turned around the next week in Seattle and was like, no, not going to do this, and stepped it back up.
But that's Coop. That's Coop being impressive. Yeah. That's not Sexton throwing it away.
No. I've had a couple people that I know in the industry, and then a couple fans message me, though, and they're like, yeah, I think like Chase is not doing his job. And I don't know that I fully agree with that.
I disagree with that.
I think there's little things that he has a tendency to do that hurt him in the end. And yeah, I kind of see that happening still. And then coming up in Philly, sounds like more rain. They originally, I think the forecast has changed a little bit, but I was hearing like 3 times as much rain as we saw in Foxborough.
Jeez. It can get worse.
Yeah, they didn't really get like a ton of rain. I think it was a quarter inch or whatever it was in Foxborough. It's supposed to be 3 times as much in Philly, but we're trying to have SMX tracks at Gillespie on tonight. He just had to push back a little bit because they're still working. They're laying out the current track in Philly. But I did want to talk to him about some of these things, but we're going to try to get him on a little bit later in this evening instead of right now. But go ahead.
The weather's saying an inch on Friday.
Okay.
It starts at 6 a.m. all day long, all through the night until about noon on Saturday, but you're only going to get half an inch on Saturday.
Okay, well,
that would be better.
I'm sure we're going to have a different program again, a shortened program. Before we continue, just a different subject real quick, we will get into the ProX Vital MX fantasy stuff. So if you guys played this week, just I didn't tell you ahead of time to try to have your points ready.
I did.
Okay. Speaking of the Cooper Webb last lap, I don't usually get very hard on the I'm not hard on the TV crew, but
they probably appreciate that.
I do have, like most people are, right? But
maybe
I do have a
chicks,
bit
though.
of an issue with not seeing that last lap and instead watching Aaron Plessinger diving into the mud. Yes, that should be televised. That should be in a little box at the bottom while we see Cooper Webb.
Or replays.
Or something. And, okay, yeah, maybe the spotter didn't know who was who at that point. It was very difficult. But to miss that is... the word that comes to mind is unforgivable. That might be a little drastic. It's very disappointing.
I'd like to say I'd put pretty much anything on a bet that it wasn't anything spectacular if you watched it. It would have just looked like
people there said it was amazing.
Well, of course.
Considering the conditions, what he was doing on that last lap, we should have seen it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I just figured.
At least have someone filming it for like B-roll purposes later.
Normally there is a camera on different guys and they go back to it, but somehow they just missed all that. I don't know.
He was going too fast for the cameras.
Yeah. But that was a little bit frustrating. And then another thing that I want to get your thoughts on, 2 laps to go, AP's about to get the white flag. They're talking about him catching Cooper Webb. And AP's like, man, if I was Cooper, I'd just let him go by so I didn't have to do that last lap. And then Cooper goes from 6th or whatever to 3rd. Like, that's really bad advice, Ricky Carmichael. Did you guys have did you even notice that? I mean,
yes, I did. And I was just like, seems kind of typical for some of the advice that Carmichael has given out over the years to the racers.
I thought that the whole broadcast in general kind of lacked a little bit of energy.
Did you?
Yeah, I just didn't seem like they're just kind of like, oh yeah, it's a mutter. Like,
oh, I disagree. I thought they were playing it very heavy on how bad it was.
I guess. I don't know. It felt weird.
Did you watch Race Day live or whatever?
No, I didn't get to watch Race Day live.
It was just 3 hours of it's muddy.
Yeah, I waited.
Muddy.
I had the schedule, so I just waited until bikes were on the track before I turned it on. Okay. A little bit of we'll get on to like the next topic, I guess. And AP, second win, 7th of the season. So that is the first time since 1997 we've had 7 winners. 5 to go. I'm still stamping Justin Cooper to win Salt Lake City. So if I'm right, we'll have 8. Do you guys, either of you think we'll stick with 7 or will we get an 8th winner?
I think we'll stick with 7.
I will say that I think the only person that could do it would be Justin Cooper. I mean, I don't see
He looked really good until he felt like he was out front.
Until he didn't.
Yeah, until he didn't. Here's the other. This is again off the subject. Even at the end of the race, Justin Cooper's O'Neill gear. I know we're sponsored by FXR here, but it was the only gear that you could see what it was. There was like no mud on it hardly. It was bright blue
Is that just
and yellow.
coincidence,
Yeah, it had to be, but it was like, oh, that's J Coop for sure. So shout out to, or maybe they sprayed him with some like SC1.
Yeah,
I was thinking of that stuff that you see him like throw mud on in the infomercials.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like water and mud doesn't stick to it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
Covered it.
Just soaked him in SC1. It was just dripping off.
Got like a Scotch guard on his gear.
Yeah. But
I-
he looked good until he didn't, like a lot of them. I was impressed. He's just getting better, man. And I'm excited to see his progression is happening.
My original answer was no, but I think I'll change it just because we've got another somewhat mutter.
Yeah.
And Barsha's really, really good at somewhat mutters. You know what I'm talking about? Like for whatever
he
reason.
qualified fastest, right?
Right.
And then, yeah, he, like everybody else, just kept falling.
But it was just like, I think that was one of those races that was just a little different than every time Barcia's done good in the mud. It's always been kind of muddy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we can get Alex on. So give me a minute. I'm going to call him.
I did want to say real quick though. I don't feel like it's been said much, but for me, that this one goes into the conversation of probably one of the worst mudders ever.
You think it would be? You would consider it one of the worst?
It's just the way. It's just how much the track affected them. The ruts and stuff that they had to stop in was crazy.
Let's get our first guest on here tonight from SMX Track Builders, also known as Dirtworks. Alex Gillespie. What's up, Alex?
Hey, man, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this and jumping on here. Look, man, I know how hard you guys work on a regular week and how long it takes to build and tear down a track. And I was real curious with the weather we had in Foxborough and what's coming up in Philly. What changes? How different is it? How much longer does it take to get everything in and out? And like, how do you get the stadium clean enough to a point where the people that own the stadium are like, yeah, that's okay, that's good. We're going to allow you to come back.
Well, so in Foxborough, Monster Jam is next week, and so they have a crew there, cleaning and gathering all the mud and street sweepers and pressure washing crews, and I know from your guys' perspective, seeing that place, you're probably just like, oh my God. And it was bad. It was probably the top 5, I've seen as far as mud goes, but they have it down pretty good. And you'd be impressed if you went there next week for Monster Jam. It'd be quite a different looking place.
Yeah, I have done construction in the past and worked on really muddy job sites, and you're just out there with a fire hose or a water tank truck and just washing the mud into the storm drains, basically. I don't know if you want to talk about how you get that all cleaned up like that, but what's the time for, how much longer is tear down from a normal race compared to Foxborough?
Yeah, so Dirtworks, we used to do all the structures and we used to do all the foam and the tough blocks as well as building the track. But, over the years, we kind of slowly stepped away from some of that stuff, and now the Feld operations guys do the tough blocks and the structures, at least the majority of the structures, I should say.
Yeah.
So after the race, we're in machines and we're plucking out PVC pipe and transponders and getting all that stuff out of the dirt, and you're going down the rhythm lanes and the dozers, and you're just like, first of all, you're like, oh my God, like, I can't even believe these guys were racing in this, and how gnarly and ruddy and soft it was is brutal. But then to see those guys out there, collecting all the foam and rolling up banners, and they're covered in head to toe in mud, it's like a war zone. And, people are, you're cold and you're shivering out there, and, your hands are just caked. It's just like, I got so much respect, for a lot of those guys, and packing all those tough blocks on the racks. It's not for everyone, and
it's not fun work.
No, but I give a lot of credit to them, and it's not fun. I've done it before. I'm glad I don't do it anymore. But
yeah,
it's wild. So we're here in Philly right now. Getting ready to build another track, not in Foxborough anymore, but that race was crazy. I mean, it's a bummer, to get weather like that and see the best riders in the world have to, for the most part, single through rhythm sections. But the racing was still exciting, but man.
Well, I would agree with you. One. Like, I was disappointed going into the night. I was like, this is going to suck. I don't like mud races. But in the end, it was extremely entertaining. Like, I was very entertained by it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what Cooper Webb did, there was still some good racing, still some exciting racing, but no one's too excited to see a mudder. I mean, I guess every once in a while it's different, but it's not what we strive for. That's for sure.
Sure, Scotty.
Yeah, Alex. So when it's a mudder like that, and obviously there's a lot of variables. You don't really know how much rain's coming. Y'all are watching the forecast all day. But how is it like panic mode for you guys all day when it's that kind of thing? Or is it the tasks are kind of the same, business as usual, or is it just code red all day?
So when we see that forecast coming, I mean, it's just like, let's get this track built as fast as we can. Let's get in contact with the building. Let's make sure we have stadium lights. We'll talk to the trucking company and make sure we can get, trucks as late as we can, as long as they're willing to haul dirt. And, it is kind of like, I wouldn't say seeing red, but, we want the track to be as good as it can be. I mean, it's our jobs, so, but there's some things that are just, out of our control. When it rains on race day, when the event's supposed to go on, there's like only so much you can do, there's some things that are out of our, that we, out of our call, like, there's the live stream, SX Live and, the practices and, AMA does all that stuff. So, they make those decisions, but if it's going to rain on race day, it is what it is.
Yeah. Like at some point it's like, we've done all we can do. It just has to happen now.
Yeah, exactly. For the most part, if it's not going to rain on race day, it can still be a pretty good track. But, yeah, like here in Philly, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been looking at the weather, but
Oh yeah.
Friday it shows like over an inch of rain, which is a lot, but the weather is slowly starting to change to where Saturday shows it getting better. So hopefully it keeps moving in that direction, knock on wood. But I would hate to see, 2 events back to back like that.
So in those events like that, when you have constant rain, or you have what maybe we may wind up seeing this weekend, which is rain early, and then would lime help in either one of those? And is there a spot or a chance we could go back to using it in the future?
No, there's new protocols with that, and you can't bring that stuff in the building. And if it is ever to be used, it needs to be a long time in advance before it even goes into a dump truck at the stockpile site.
Okay.
There's a whole new protocol for that. And you can't really predict the weather that far in advance. Like the problem in Foxborough was when the dirt showed up, it already had a lot of moisture in it. Not like, I wouldn't say not too much, but it was already pretty saturated, like kind of a little bit of a, if it didn't rain, it probably would have been a bit of a softer track. So it wasn't ready to take a lot of water.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't compact. Like we call it moon dust, like that Foxborough dirt. It's just like always soft. It dries really quickly in a weird way. When it's muddy, it's like, it's so sticky. You just like lose your boot when you walk on it. It's just like not great. So we actually got new dirt for Foxborough, and half the track was built out of the new stuff, and the other half of the track was built out of the old stuff because we didn't get all of the new dirt in time. And man, if we had all of the new dirt and if it was a little bit drier, it's gonna be actually pretty nice if we go back there next year. I'm looking forward to building out of the new stuff and seeing the difference.
In preparations for Philly with the weather that's expected, will you build the track as close to the map as you were originally going to, or will you go ahead and start building it tamed down?
That's a great question. And I've been dealing with that. I've been dealing with that all day today, because, when I was in Foxborough, I'm like, man, do we look at the, I'm sitting down with Mike Mealy, and we're looking at the weather for Philly, and we're like, man, we have the over-under bridge here. How are we going to take this thing down on Sunday? Getting the trailers on the getting the trailer on the floor, and all the twisting and turning we got to do with forklifts, and it's just like, do we modify the track? And then you look down on the racetrack in Foxborough, and you see everyone kind of rolling a lot of the jumps, and we're like, we should build more of a mud-friendly track, because at that point it showed rain all day Saturday and Friday.
Yeah.
and that's kind of when you got to make the decision, because that track map needs to go to all the departments. It needs to go to TV, the AMA, timing and scoring for all of their transponder locations, and how all of those locations interfere with the broadcast. It's a whole thing. So I did revise the track map. I don't know if it's online or if it's posted yet, but there is more of a mud friendly track.
Okay.
But now it's starting to go the other way.
Yeah.
Where race day is looking a little bit better, but it's just one of those things. It's like, is it going to rain on Saturday or is it not? And you get over an inch on Friday. So, man, I don't know. It's a hard decision to make when you have to make the decision.
Yeah, it is. And it's very easy to make what people would consider to be the wrong decision. And yeah, that's tough. I think an over-under it last weekend would have been not good. It would have not been good. People would have been coming off the side of that thing probably. Who knows? So I would,
Yep.
Yeah. But TJ, did you have one more before we let him go?
Well, I just had an answer to all these mud problems.
Okay.
We have a local track here that is completely covered in turf.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
it's so much fun to ride and so much traction. Whenever we have mud races, just turf the whole thing. I'm telling you, it'd be amazing.
I think I've seen that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Is it where is that at?
It's here in East Texas, right outside of the Tyler area where we are, and it is the most traction you've ever. It's so much fun, and we were watching it, and my buddies were like, they just need to turf it like Madden is.
Oh man, I can only imagine.
It's a dumb idea.
Tell them
TJ.
to roll it up and bring it up here to Philly.
Yeah, right. Well, Alex, we're going to let you go. We got Colt Nichols coming up, but yeah, good luck. You guys got your work cut out for you. In the end, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the race last weekend. It was something to watch. It was pretty impressive to see what Cooper did there at the end, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah,
Yep.
You guys aren't going to make everybody happy. There's no way, but good luck.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, see ya.
All right, see ya. That's Alex Gillespie with SMX Tracks. Yeah, those guys worked their ass off. And something we didn't mention was it was like 39 degrees, right? So it was all. And I think it even got down lower than that, like close to freezing that night. So think about how we are, right? When your hands get wet and muddy and it's freezing,
May have saved the
they're
bikes.
miserable.
May have kept the bike from overheating.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about that, but just in a miserable experience. One of the questions that we have that we can rotate is, do you like having a mudder? Like in the end, I enjoyed that race. Like I just said, going into it, I was like, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
But during the race, I was like, I'm actually I'm enjoying watching this.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? Like, is it good to have one of those a year? And
Not that muddy, but like, what was it? Remember a couple years back, A1 was a mudder. It was but it was like a slippery, muddy, but the guys could still do rhythm sections when they tried, but they could mess up.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't like what we saw this weekend.
Okay. Scotty?
Like, you can't control everything in life. Like this, it presents opportunities for other people. Like for me, it just kind of is what it is. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, we don't need to go to open stadiums anymore. Oh, we need to do this.
I want to get into the stadium stuff too, because TJ has thoughts on that, but continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's an event based on dirt. Dirt's affected by rain. Like, people got moments out of this. There's stories that came from it. We're good.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of look at it.
Okay, I think we have our first guest of the night on. Let me intro him real quick. Racetech is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company, and they have over 40 years of experience providing factory-level suspension to the everyday rider. Racetech Gold Valves provide a plush feel with drastically improved bottoming resistance. All Racetech products are 100% guaranteed and made in the USA. Tonight, Racetech brings us from the Hep Suzuki Twisted Tea team, Mr. Colt Nichols. What's up, man?
Yo, how we doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm just pulling out of Mr. Will Hahn's house, did a little workout, all that fun stuff, a little outdoor riding today. So it was, honestly, it was a good day.
All right. Yeah, I want to get into outdoor testing, but let's start with your season as a whole. Best result of the year in Foxborough with an 8th, first top 10 of the year. But you told our Lewis Phillips that you feel like there's been a lot of improvements over the last couple of weeks and things are coming on. So I want to know where your head's at with your season after Foxborough.
Yeah, after Foxborough, I'm obviously pumped. Best, result of the season. I didn't think I would be like that ecstatic for, an 8th place finish, but, at the same time, it's all baby steps and it's all relative to where you've been and what you've been doing. So I was stoked. I mean, there was a few of these weekends where I'm like, on the plane back home on Sunday, and I'm like, dude, I straight up just got like 15th. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know where to begin or what to do. I've been a little bit distraught at some point, and my biggest goal for this season was like, hey, I just want to get through this damn thing. Like, I want to race all 17 races. That was the biggest goal that I had, and then I wanted to have a slow build, and I came in with not as much prep as I wanted. Like, I thought in hindsight, like, okay, I've maybe done enough, and I raced a few races in WSX and all this stuff, but by the time I got to Anaheim 1, I was like, wow, I'm really not as near as prepared as I thought I would be, and it just showed, dude. Like, every weekend I was struggling, and we switched from suspension companies, right before A1, and that took some time to get used to, just because it was a completely different setup. And like I said, I had kind of no prep, so I was just like, man, I'm really behind the 8 ball here. So it's just been a constant improvement. And Seattle and Foxborough, I think that was the first time all season where I've showed up on the same setup, fork and shock wise and stuff like that. But we made a huge improvement before Seattle. I went back to the setup that I'd been on for SMX and WSX. So that was like a big thing for me. Just got a lot more comfort, and it showed on the weekend. Obviously, I know it was a mud race, but still, it was just a lot more comfortable for me. I had more confidence in what was underneath me, and it was much better. But yeah, it's been a crazy, not great season, to be honest, so far. So it's been crazy.
Okay, so to continue with that, I have two things that I kind of want to bring up based off your answer there. Not being the greatest season, but you have to look back, and I think the fans and the media needs to remember this is your 3rd year on a 450 full time. And in those 3 years, you've rode 4 different bikes, right? You were HRC Honda. You rode like Swap Motos, Kawasaki outdoors a little bit, I believe. You were on Beta for a little bit, and now Suzuki. A lot with that, big changes with Suzuki from the suspension side. Also dealing with, I think, a shoulder, some being banged up. That's a lot. It's kind of hard to come out and be your best with those factors.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, I think it's a lot more, this sport is tough, and guys that are in my position and just racers in general, it's hard for us to admit it, but dude, mentally it's difficult. Like, there's been times where I've struggled so bad where I'm just like, dude, I just feel like I don't have it anymore. Like, maybe I'm just not good, and I can't do this anymore at a high level, and maybe I should do something else. I don't know, because I was just at a point where I was struggling so bad, and you're trying to find some comfort, and you don't really know how to get there. And, sometimes you kind of go the wrong direction with things if you don't really know exactly what you're searching for. And it felt like I've been like that since I've been on a 450. Like, hey, I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is. Like, I'm missing the feeling that I want on the bike, and I'm not really sure how to get there. And, being on HRC was incredible. And, just by the time I started to get comfortable on it, obviously I had to get off of it. And I'm like, well, that kind of sucks. And then trying to pick up the pieces and figure out where to go, and you're bouncing around teams, and just trying to find anything that'll get you comfortable. And obviously the Beta thing didn't work out for me and for the team. So being here, though, I was stoked, because I did have some glimpses of what I thought was like, okay, this is the feeling I've kind of been wanting with a motorcycle, and just feeling that I want and need, and then mentally trying to get over the hump of being like, hey, I can still do this, and I can be competitive still, and I can put myself in these vulnerable positions. And that's hard to do, dude. Once you get beat down like a few years in a row, you're just like, Jesus Christ, like, this sucks. So that's probably the biggest toll. So to try and climb that ladder again is definitely been the biggest thing, but starting to make some good strides. So I'm happy with that. We'll take a little win while we can.
So I had another question, but my co-host TJ had a question that actually kind of fits in with that, TJ, with where he's like, I don't know if I can do this. That could kind of lead into your question.
The way I kind of want to ask this, because I definitely don't mean any, I guess, disrespect towards you, because you're a great racer, but would it be better for you to race around the top 10, that kind of stuff, in Supercross and outdoors or whatever, or would you rather like go battle Vince for a championship in arena cross?
I mean, obviously I started in arena cross. Like that's where I made my pro debut, like in 14. But I mean, there's something to be said about winning a race. I mean, that's not like a crazy thing to ask, and it's not really disrespectful, just because it's like, dude, you want to win. Like, that's why we all do this. And even now, like, there's been times where I've won the LCQ, and I'm like, fuck, that was nice just to get a checkered flag. Like, that was cool, just to say I won something. Like, Jesus. But, I mean, it is a thing, to say that you won. I mean, I personally look at more of the situation like Shane McElrath. Like, he spent all off season racing WSX on a 250 because he wanted to like win, and he thought he could on that bike in that situation, and that means a lot. Like you're still racing good guys, and you go there and you win, and you're making good money, and you win a championship, and you look up and you're like, hey, I'm a 250 world champ. Like that's sick. Like that's a really cool feeling, regardless of whether you've been in the 450 class or not. That doesn't matter. So I think that's like a big thing, just to say that you've won. Now, do I want to necessarily go do that yet? No. I don't think I'm at that point. But even doing what Shane did, like I thought that was really cool. Like there's guys that did that in previous years that people don't really remember, but like even GL, he kind of reinvented his career by going back and racing for PC and winning 250 titles and moved back up to the 450 class, like on a factory ride. And that's a real thing, So, yeah, I mean, I think that's more what it is, like just to say that you can win and be really, really competitive and battling for race wins again. And, maybe at some point I'll get to that point. I don't think I'm there. I still feel like I can have more to give and put myself in a much better position to feel like I'm accomplishing what I think I can do. And that's all I want. Like each weekend, I just want to leave thinking like, okay, like I felt like I rode to my ability. And if that's 15th, so be it. If it's 10th, 5th, whatever. I just want to feel like that. And I feel like I've been leaving so much on the table because I've just not been in a comfortable spot. So I'm like, dude, I just want to be comfortable and leave feeling like that. And once I do that, I'm happy. Like whatever the result is, that is what it is. So it's feeling, I'm getting happier with that. But it takes a lot mentally to put yourself back in that zone too. So it's baby steps.
Well, that's good because my son races that series, and you would be one more guy pushing him out of the main events. So.
I watched it every weekend, though. I'll be honest. I was tuned in. Justin was racing the start class, so I was kind of involved. And I was watching Hicks battle with Freezy and all those boys, and it brought back some memories. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a really good season. But I want to go back to something you were saying with your results from Foxborough and feeling like that's the first time that you were really comfortable. You mentioned also, it was just a mud race, but doesn't really matter. What are some positives that you took away from that mentally more than anything that you can take into Philadelphia, which once again, may be a mud race?
Yeah, I like I said, I think it kind of started in Seattle. The feeling that I wanted on the bike, I'm like, okay, we're getting closer. We're at that point where I can finally say like, all right, I'm getting content with where we are, and I don't feel like we're like starting from ground zero really. So it started there, just getting a little more confident and feeling like I can do some of the things I want to do. Like when you're not comfortable, it's really hard to describe because as a racer, like you get put in the zone, and racing for Star was like an insane blessing, but also a curse in a way because, I was there for so long that we didn't really touch anything. Like we didn't really do anything. And Will was the test rider at the time. And if we needed to try something, he tried it. He's like, hey, this is better. This is plug and play. Like this is what you're running now. And so you ran it. So it's like they were just so good at their jobs that it took kind of the guessing game out for the riders. Like it was insane the way that worked. And then you move up to the 450 class and everything's kind of on you. Like, hey, you set this thing up the way you want to set it up. And it's hard. You can get kind of lost. But even though it was a mud race, like you said, I was just like, even the heat race, I actually got a good start. That's the first time I've been inside the top 10. And I think all season, and I came around the first turn and third, and I was like, wow, like I can actually see for once. Like this is crazy. So that was really, really nice. That was probably the biggest thing, was just starting up there. But you have to believe you can be there before you start up there. I truly believe. Like I think starts are insanely mental, and if you don't feel like you belong, you probably won't be up there. That's just the way that it is. So that was probably the biggest thing for me. And then, I never really questioned the bike. Obviously, I wasn't coming in thinking, hey, we need to do this, this, and this to make it more comfy. It was like, let's just ride the damn thing. Like, obviously, it's mud. That's what you have to do anyway. But it was kind of like that at Seattle, too. So that's been really positive the past 2 weeks.
Nice.
Sure.
Yeah, Colt, that was kind of what I was thinking is all this stuff working on the bike and these different things you've had to do. And then it all kind of gets thrown out the window with a race like Foxborough. And like I was similar to Dark was that had to have been kind of refreshing, where it's like none of that stuff even matters. I just have to go out there and survive. And it probably did it bring some fun back into it, where you were just out there splashing in the mud and did that kind of
frolicking
in the mud and kind of it's like a refresher, right?
I mean, in a way it is, because the way I tried to look at it was I was like, dude, now it's like we're on a level playing field. Like, this is the great equalizer. Anybody can do anything in these conditions. Like, obviously you see with the 250 and some of the 450 results, like you can kind of pull something out of the hat sometimes, you know, when it's a mud race. Like, you never know. It can go one direction or it can go the other. And luckily for me, it went the other, and I was able to, you know, survive and do well. But even in the heat race, I was in third and I crashed and went all the way back to 15, 17, wherever I was. And I was just like, dude, I do not want to go to the LCQ so bad. So I just started kind of sending it. I was just jumping jumps I hadn't really done all day, and had the confidence to do that, though, you know, with what's underneath you and mentally where you're at. And it's mud, you know, it's not like we're going fast, like you're going pretty slow,
Right.
especially in the main event. But in the heat race, I started to kind of send it through, and I felt like I actually rode really well with the way that it was, and, you know, came back to fifth or whatever it was. So I just had a lot more confidence in myself and the conditions. And when it slows down, it's kind of easier. Like, honestly, like even when you're trying to make passes, you can just kind of stay up and go by people every now and then. You don't have to be like insanely calculated. It kind of takes some pressure off in a way. And I was like, let's just go have some fun, dude. Like, I just want to enjoy it. And that's kind of been the goal, is like, I just want to have more fun on the weekends too, and not put so much pressure and emphasis on, you know, the actual like number of where you're finishing. Like, every time I do that, it's kind of shit. So
Yeah.
just trying to have more fun.
What I'm gathering from this interview so far is, stop letting the mental side bring you down and have more fun. And I really think that sounds like that's the key for right now. I was going to ask you, like, what are some things you need to work on the most? Starts probably being one of them, but that right there, I think, is the number one. It sounds like, just from what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been more chasing, the comfort so far where we've been at this whole Supercross season. So once we kind of went back to what I thought was a comfortable spot, just with, like, not necessarily the actual setting that I was on from, you know, WSX, but what it was fork and shock wise was a big thing for me. And going back to that, I was like, okay, this immediately gave me some more comfort. I'm like, okay, this is kind of what I've wanted the whole time, and I thought we had, but we just kept making changes. It was kind of band-aiding everything. Mm-hmm. And then it would always kind of come back to the surface, and I'm like, damn it, that wasn't it. Like, that still isn't where we need it. It's better, but it's not exactly what I'm wanting. So now that we're in this position, I'm just like, okay, let's just go ride the damn bike. Let's just go ride it. We'll figure it out. Like, if we need to do something next weekend, we'll try it in the week. You know, instead of trying to test every weekend, I'm just like, dude, I'm sick of doing that shit. I just want to ride the bike and enjoy the racing and actually feel like I'm competing for once. Like I have the past few weekends, I actually feel like I'm racing instead of just being out there riding around wasting gas, is what it's felt like. So it's been nice. It's just been a pleasant change of pace, and I've been much happier the past few weekends. Good
to hear. Colt Nichols tonight, brought to you by Race Tech.
So I don't know if you know this, but the platform you're on has been around for a little while. Is that a positive, like where you, like, because you've rode quite a few different bikes the last few years, is it like it helps you with the foundation of the bike, or is it the same as any other bike that you get on, you have to set it up for yourself?
A little bit of both. I mean, it's been tough. Like, when I first got on the bike, it wasn't really a whole lot of changes, because I was just like, hey, just give me whatever, like, you guys know, and kind of wherever Ken's at. Like, obviously he's riding it really well, and so that was kind of the direction where we were at first. And whatever he was doing, I kind of mirrored a little bit, because I was riding outdoors first, you know, so it's kind of easier outdoors to kind of get familiar. Supercross is kind of just a whole other animal to set the bike up. And we started doing that, and everything that they had, they were like, hey, we've tried this before. Because I would ask questions like, hey, why do you guys do this? Why do you do that? And I'm like, well, we've tried it. This is the best thing we have. So I'm like, all right, no worries. Like, let's just do that. And then I was still, like I said, kind of searching for something, and I didn't know really what it was. And before SMX, I got to go back to an air fork, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, this is what I feel like I've been missing the whole time I've been on a 450, just having this security and hold up of the bike. And the 450 is so heavy. Like, once it starts to move, it really moves, and the weight shift is just insanely more compared to a 250. So me personally, I like having the hold up. Like, I need to have an air fork. Supercross outdoors, it doesn't matter. Like, I need that hold up. I feel like it's just like a security thing, and that's all I had at Star for 7 years of being there. And then even on the cycle trader bike, we were on air, and it's what I'm used to, so that's the way I like to ride the bike. And so that was what I felt like we had to search for, and I was trying to get it in all these different ways instead of being like, oh, that's the big piece, and so once we got that, I'm like, okay, the rest of the stuff's whatever. Like, it's all just kind of knick-knack stuff, like kind of pick it apart as you go, standard subframes, cut subframes, bars, clamps, like little stuff. But that was kind of the bigger thing. And Larry is really, really good at his job, and he's been around with the team for a while, and they've tried a lot of stuff. So I was really able to lean on him and be like, hey, have you tried this? Why do you guys not do that? And he would always have an explanation for me, which was really, really cool. And he's just been a blast to work with too. So it's been fun, like having him around. And yeah, like I said, the platform's been around for a while, so more than likely they've tried it. So it's been good.
Are you on like the PSF 1, or are you hybrid with a spring?
No, just back to standard PSF. So we kind of were on that a little bit before, and just a little bit harder to fine tune. Not that it can't be good,
right,
but when you're mid-season trying to make changes and do stuff, it's hard, dude. It's just hard to replicate the races, and it's hard to get that back home. So, and then I was getting so frustrated before Alabama. I'm like, just put Ken's stuff on. Like, let me just try whatever he's riding. Like, let me just try it, like whatever. And Larry's like, I think that's a good idea. Like, it's good to ride teammates' bikes. Like, they're your teammates, you might as well utilize it. I'm like, all right. And I ride it, and I'm like, well, that feels pretty good here. And then we go on the race, and I'm like, holy shit, like, I cannot ride it like that. I don't know how he does it, but I'm like, I can't ride that the way that setup is. I just don't like it. Not saying it's bad.
Right.
It's just, like I said, it's whatever you're used to. And he's used to the bike feeling like that, and I'm used to it feeling like this. So I was like, yeah, that ain't going to work. So
yeah.
After that, we kind of scrapped everything, and I'm like, please just give me this. And then once we got back to just the standard PSF, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, just leave it. Just don't touch it. Let's just leave it with where it is, and let's run it from here. So that's where we've been at, and I've been stoked. That's
a good fork. I know Cowie had it for a long time, and then all the factories got nuts with all the multi-chamber BS, but that PSF fork was one of my favorites.
Yeah, like I said, it gives you some security and hold up in the spots where I feel like I need it, and that's just what I'm used to. Like, I'm just used to that. Like, when the bike's really soft and it kind of dives in the front end, and like Eli would always go on these interviews and say all this stuff. Like, if the rear end felt too low, he would get really tight and he'd get arm pump. And, if the front was high and the rear was kind of too low on the bike, he tightened up a lot. Well, I'm like the polar opposite. Like, if the front's like diving and it's really low and I got the seat like in my ass the whole time, I'm like, dude, I cannot ride it like that. I get so tight, and then I end up going slower because I'm like, feel like I'm going to go over the bars everywhere. I just hate that feeling. So I'm kind of the opposite. If anything, I'd like it a little bit more lower in the rear, a little bit, stiffer up front, which is a little bit more old school. Like the way RV used to set the bike up, Stewart, Reed, all those guys back then. And now it's kind of shifted, like the way Jet rides, the way Chase rides, even a little bit Kenny. All those guys ride it a little bit more opposite. Like, it's really extended and high in the rear, and it's really, really soft, and it moves a lot in the fork. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I can't ride it like that. It just feels so awkward and unnatural to me, but those guys ride it insanely good. So, I don't know. I wish I could. I can't. It feels really weird to me.
All right. You mentioned doing some outdoor testing today. Like, how's that going? Was today the first day, and are you kind of ready to switch gears a little bit and almost start over?
In a way, like, outdoors is always exciting when it's first coming around, because you're like, oh, this is so cool. You're carrying so much speed and smashing ruts and doing all this stuff, and it's really fun. But it's not hot yet.
Yeah.
So that makes it nice. As soon as it starts to get hot and it's, 105 degrees and we're at Paula on Tuesday again, I'm just like, Jesus Christ. But it is really exciting, honestly, at first, to kind of switch things up and move around and get some speed underneath you again. But like I said, I've been feeling a lot better on Supercross the past few weeks. So that's been exciting for me to want to go race on the weekends and to still finish the series strong and hop into outdoors, hopefully with a head start as far as some comfort and where we sit with the bike. And I was stoked. Like I said, for the first day, I was pretty happy with the way it went today, and we're going to ride again tomorrow. And I was super stoked, and it's always exciting when you first move over.
For sure. Scotty.
Yeah, Colt, before Indy, you got to have a pretty unique experience where you were on the Pat McAfee show, and what he's doing with the sports media world is pretty game changing, and he has a lot of stuff that he's done that's cool, and for you to be a part of that is good for the sport and good for your program and sponsors and all that. But what made me laugh was when I saw some of the clips of him riding your bike, and I was not expecting him to go that fast on it. And I just wanted to know if you were like, dude, I got to race that thing tomorrow. You got to chill.
Yeah, honestly, I was nervous. Like, when they brought out the TTR, I'm like, all right, good move. Let's start there. You know, I got to start on something that's not so crazy. Because I didn't know if he'd ever rode a bike, like nothing. He said he'd, like, rode some Harleys before or whatever, you know, like on the street. And I'm like, all right, well, at least he knows how to use the clutch and at least take off probably. Like, he might be all right. And then he took off, and I'm like, bro, he's good. Like, he's solid. And he was like, I want to ride the big bike. And I'm like, oh, shit. But when he hopped on, I was like, well, I feel, like, confident enough that he's not just going to kill himself and do something stupid. Because I'm always worried, like, when a new person hops on a bike, they're going to get whiskey throttle and just, like, cannot stop, you know, and go through the gate or something crazy. So I was nervous of that. But once he rode around the TTR, I'm like, oh, he's good. Like, I wasn't worried about him being on the 450 or anything. One time he came in, like, pretty hot in the parking lot, and there was, like, some loose gravel. And he never touched the rear brake on any of the bikes. He stopped with the front brake only. And so he came in and kind of, like, grabbed a little too much front brake, and it kind of started to tuck. And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, that made me really nervous, but he saved it, pulled out of it, and then just rode away. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. That was a really, really cool experience, and that dude is incredible. I think he's by far the, you know, pioneer as far as, like, what he's doing and how he's doing it in the sports world for stick and ball sports. And, dude, to be a part of that was way, way cooler than I anticipated. And it's such a big deal because me and all my friends watch that. You know, like, I love watching football, basketball, and all this stuff. And, you know, he's like the main source for pretty much all that now. It's pretty crazy. And for the sport, I was stoked. Like, I just didn't want to sound like a dummy and, you know, make Supercross. I just wanted to make it sound as cool as I possibly could, because it is. I think our sport is the best, coolest thing absolutely in the world, and especially with the racing it's been this year, dude, it's insane. Like, I don't know how you can't be a fan of it if you're watching on TV. And to go there and talk positively on such a big stage was incredible, and an experience I'll never forget. And I was just really blessed I got to do it. And I hope I made the sport and everybody else proud. I was really stoked to get to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to say was, did you realize, like, our sport is really nice to everybody and never talks trash on people? And so did you realize that that you were going to have such a great, what do you call it? Like everybody just loved reception. That's the word I'm looking for, because of how well you did. Did you realize that when you walked out of there, like, I killed it, or were you waiting for all the trolls?
A little bit, I guess a little bit of both. I mean, because you never know, like, how those things are going to go. Like, obviously, there's no set plan. There's no questions that you know are going to be asked. It was really just wing it. Like, I was told Thursday night at, like, 9 p.m., like, hey, you're going to go on Pat McAfee tomorrow. I was like, holy shit. Like, all right. Like, that's cool, you know? So I was just stoked to get the opportunity, but I still didn't feel like it was real until I landed, you know, Friday, and my flight got delayed, and we were in an ultimate rush to, like, make his show. And I was like, dude, I have to make this. Like, I cannot, there's no way I can miss this. Like, I'm going to try and get there by all means. And by the time we got there, I literally walk in with my backpack directly from the airport. I drop it. They put the mic on me. I'm there for like 2 minutes. And then they're like, yeah, you're on. And so I didn't even have time to really, like, get nervous. But as I was standing there, I'm like, dude, I'm pretty, like, nervous to do this right now. Like, dude, that's such a big deal. Like I said, like, I watch his show all the time. So I was just like, wow, this is crazy. But as soon as they introduced me and I walked out, all that kind of went away. It was like the weirdest feeling ever. And I felt like I was just talking with the boys, and they did so good at making me feel comfortable and, you know, never made it awkward or anything like that. And I felt like when I got done, I did a good job. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, I feel like I blacked out. I don't even know what I said. I felt like an idiot. Like, I had no idea. I'm like, who knows? I don't even remember what the hell I was saying. But I was like, I hope it went well. And I watched it back a few days later, and I'm like, all right, well, that went good. Cool. I'm stoked on that. So it was really cool, though, to see all the positivity from people in the sport. And every weekend I've had people come up and be like, dude, you were so awesome on Pat McAfee. That was sick. Like, they were stoked. So, yeah, that's been cool for me. That was a really, really cool experience.
Other than knocking over the bobblehead?
Oh, dude, that kind of actually helped me in a way. That was like the ultimate icebreaker. I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, what an idiot. I'm like, that's the way to start the show. But it kind of helped, though, because they were kind of ragging on me, like, immediately. And I was like, all right, I feel like I'm one of the boys. This is cool. I can dig this. It
was good, man. It was good. Yeah, I enjoyed watching it. It was kind of funny that they didn't know a lot about the sport. They asked us typical questions like, well, how fast your bike go? You know, it's like, I don't know, maybe we don't have speedometers, but yeah, it was really good. All right, before I let you go, I bring this up every time I talk to you. You know I do, but I think you got to bring the long earring back, dude. That's what you need.
Jeez.
That might be the thing, dude. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe that's what I've been missing. I just need to bring the dangly earring back.
Yep.
I don't know. I might try it this weekend. We'll see.
Do it this weekend. Let's see how it goes. And if you get like a top 5, then you could thank the MotoXpod.
Yeah, very, very true. That might be a thing. I'll try. I don't know, dude. Maybe my ears are closed. I haven't done the earrings in I don't know, probably a few years. So maybe I don't even have them anymore. We'll see. We'll find out tonight.
All right,
He
cool.
said we'll find out tonight.
Hey, man, I appreciate you jumping on here, talking to us, man. It's always a pleasure. And, yeah, good luck this weekend. And hopefully it's not too bad weather-wise, but it looks bad.
Yeah, probably not going to be great, but that's all right. We survived last weekend. We'll survive it again this weekend. But thank you guys as always. I appreciate it. And, yeah, you guys take care.
All right, you too. See you, bud.
Yeah, see ya.
That's Colt Nichols tonight, brought to you by Race Tech.
I'd like to drop the announcement now that we'll hear something towards the end of the week that he's suffering from an infection in the earlobe.
Yeah.
Colt Nichols out this race with the massive ear infection.
Infected
Yeah.
earlobe, yeah.
Says 3 idiots on a janky podcast told him to do it.
Hey, man, you don't worry about what. Yeah, just roll with it. I don't know. I bring it up everything. It's just it's like he's the only dude that can
Dude,
pull it
like
off.
he pulled it off.
Yeah.
He did. I'll give it to him.
Colt's a stud, man. Colt's a stud. All right, so yeah, we didn't really get to finish all the track talk stuff. We got to get into X brand form check-ins and whatnot. But
Well, let's do it.
real quick, going back to that, you have had in our group text like, oh, you're upset about the closed open stadiums. Why don't we go to closed stadiums? I meant to do some research and see how many actual closed stadiums there are in the country, because there's not that many that we don't go to. I think Houston got let go for a while because attendance was so bad. We're not going to go to Mercedes Dome ever again, I don't think, because they don't want us there. The new one in Vegas, they don't want us there. The one in St. Louis is a shithole, but I guess we're going there for SMX. Other than those, Minneapolis, we didn't go to.
I wish you'd
this
go to
year.
Minneapolis.
There was the issues with the venting in Minneapolis a few years ago, and everybody got really like sick from the fumes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if there is no venting or they just forgot to turn it on. I was told that day it was like they just didn't turn it on.
That happened one
But-
time at Arlington where they couldn't open it, and like I remember I got like my eyes got real dried out.
Yes.
And I mean that could have been from other things, but it did feel like I got a headache from it, from all the race gas.
It's hard to say. I think my biggest gripe is more than that is the way that they route the series. I don't remember necessarily complaining too much about the closed stadiums because I don't watch. But I guess when I watch sports on TV, because I'm not a big sports fan, all I ever see is closed stadiums. So I guess I think there's more of them than there really is. Does that make sense?
That's not true. There's been games that have decided who's going to like championship games in -8-degree weather and frozen snow. Like
I don't know.
You just have to do it sometimes.
Watch them as
I
well.
don't
I
watch
know.
that
So
stuff.
when he
Well,
does,
I mean, he's an idiot.
But what I'm saying is for I think I represent a big vast majority of racers or moto fans that don't watch other sports. I just thought every team had a
No,
closed
not at all. It's
stadium.
super expensive.
Because I hear them complain about the one in Seattle all the time where they're like, well, he personally wanted an open stadium so God could watch his team or something.
that's
stupid.
Texas.
Oh, well, whatever.
That's why he put the roof on.
That's why the old Texas Stadium had the hole in the center.
But the guy the one in Seattle is open. And
It's
they
just
keep
open,
talking,
yeah.
and they talk about how it shouldn't be because the guy did some research or something and said it was always. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Because it rained so much there, but yeah, maybe, I don't know.
My thoughts were I just thought stadiums had more, like there was more roof stadiums. I didn't find that out until here recently that it's not a normal thing.
Yeah, there's not that many, and like,
Why can't we go to the Astrodome?
because it's
still there.
yeah, but it's not usable.
Well, I mean,
If you could go
they-
there, you could go right next door.
They've
It's-
gone to
it's-
Reliant.
Yeah, I mean, the other stadium's right there. There's just nobody shows up.
okay, I'm just saying, like we could, whatever.
There's reasons. I don't know, like if Sean Brennan or who we could get on that could kind of maybe fill us in on that at some point, but certainly there's a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just because they want to.
Schedules. And
They want to make the privateers drive from one end of the country to the.
That right there is ridiculous. I will get on a soapbox about that. That was so easy to fix.
You feel like it was, but we don't know
You
what
don't
the
know what
availability of
yeah.
things was.
No, I'll say this, and I won't get too upset about it. The week before the race in Alabama, there was nothing scheduled in the stadium the 2 weeks before it. So there was nothing scheduled. They didn't have a concert. They didn't have a gun show.
Did you only look on the weekends, or what about during the week?
I looked at their schedule. Everything that was on their calendar. Nothing for the 2 weeks before.
For what stadium?
Alabama. So what they could have done is went from Tampa. Was it Tampa? Or where did they go? No, they went from up north down to Alabama, right? Whatever.
Indy.
It went from Indy to Alabama. They could have, and they had a break in between. They could have moved the break. It just went straight from Indy to Alabama. It's not that far of a drive, but it's a far drive, but it's not that far. And then take that 2 weeks between Alabama and Seattle.
Then they're just going to all drive back to Cali anyways.
Not all of the, okay, yes, the top 10, 15 guys, and I know no one cares about the privateers, but some of these guys are struggling to get to the races. And you take some of those 450 guys and make them drive from Alabama to Seattle, and then from Seattle to the Northeast. That is just
He's basically saying they should have put
dickery.
the weekend in between Birmingham and Seattle, so they didn't have to do it in a week.
Or between Seattle
There's a
and
lot
this.
more to it.
I don't know what the reason is, but there is reasons. There are reasons that they do that, and we'd have to have the people on that know that. But it's not to F over the privateers.
I don't think, and I've said this in our group message, I don't think it's on purpose. I think that people just don't think about it that way. They don't see it that way.
I think you're wrong. I think they spend weeks and weeks and weeks doing all that.
They care about what Honda wants to do, what Yamaha wants to do, what KTM wants to do.
Honda and Yamaha don't care about either one of those would work for them. They don't care.
I'm just saying. That's what I'm getting at is they don't. Like it was just.
I'm going to reach out to Sean tomorrow and see if
easy
we can get somebody to let us know that. But all right, let's get in.
Well, I was just saying, just like we said earlier, my whole thing on like, why are we having mudders? Like, dude, it's dirt bike racing. Sometimes you race in the mud. It happens.
It does take away from what the quote unquote show of Supercross should be.
It happens.
It does happen. I'm not arguing that, but it takes away from like when people pay their money to go Supercross, they want to see dirt bikes doing the triple and and the big quads, and that's what you want to see out of Supercross. And when you don't get that, it's a little disappointing. I understand that. It's not as cool, period.
No, but it
is part of it.
It's dirt bikes.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that, Scotty.
Yeah, it's not to y'all. It's to the. It's to the. I don't know. I just think that's a ridiculous take that we should. I don't know. I'm sorry.
X-Brand Forum check-in. X-Brand is your choice for clear vision and a leader in motocross and off-road goggles. X-Brand is used by many of the top GNCC riders, as well as national enduro champions, arena cross, supercross, and motocross riders like Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Norn, Henry Miller, Michael Hicks, Richard Taylor, Jerry Robin, and many more. Visit EKSbrand.com or go to your local dealership and ask for X-Brand, distributed through WPS. All right. The X-Brand Forum check-in is titled Current Era versus the Dungey Years, posted by Pop Schmoke. The difference in the sport from the clean cut, I just want to thank the sponsor Style, where there was only like 4 guys in the 450 class and everyone was a robot, compared to today when most of the top guys are out and you still have one of the better seasons and everybody is a character is wild. The change we've seen has been incredible, both in talent, depth, and rider personality. I love Duns, but looking back, the sport had gotten pretty boring there for a while. Want to get your guys' thoughts?
I haven't thought about it, but I think he's dead on. Like, I think he's right. There is more characters now that he brings that up.
I won't go as far to say as Dungey was boring. Like, Dungey did a lot of good things. He was a good guy. He does a massive part of the St. Jude things. He brought in sponsors like Target, and he was on the Wheaties box. Like, I think in that way, he was just as good for the sport as what's happening now. But I do like what we have now, where they've got personalities. They say stuff on the podium. They make jokes. They have their videos in the VIP experiences. I'm here for all that, but I don't know if I'd go as far to say what Dungey did was boring and wrong, because he did a lot of great things.
Yeah, but he could be kind of boring.
So here's a question for going off of what he said. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. What do you think caused that? Like what? Like who?
Social media just got bigger. It just the culture changed.
Different generation.
I
do think the racing as a whole is better right now.
Well, the reason I asked that is
type thing.
Did we see whenever AP turned into country And when he started really leaning into that, that was like the first person who really leaned into a quote unquote, not a fake character. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm talking about like leaned into his own personality. I wonder if the other teams and the social media people who run the teams, I wonder if that actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're like, hey, that's marketable.
Yeah.
Because these teams will do anything unless it's marketable.
Yeah, I guess there's some truth to that.
And then Deegs coming in with a big attitude, and I mean all these things.
The YouTube presence and
yeah.
I think that he's right. I think there's a little more character in the sport, and I think
he's right.
The field feels a little like there's more depth. More guys can win than just one or two. I think he's right. I think we're in a very fortunate time of our sport.
I like dirt bike racing again.
Anything else? Good?
I'm good.
Okay. What we got on time? We got a few minutes before we got to get Gage on. So let's do Evan's coolant emails. Evan's waterless coolant protects your engine because it always stays liquid. Steam inside the engine creates hot spots and detonation. Not good. But with Evan's, the metal is always liquid cooled. Used by HRC Honda, Factory Beta USA, and Pro Factory Yamaha, and many other teams, regardless of sponsorship, Evans is in the bikes on the podium. Probably saved a lot of bikes this weekend in Foxborough. All right, so I've got a couple older emails that we didn't get to. This first one is from Phil Smeltzer talking about the Hayden Deegan Juju issue a couple weeks ago, what we've seen all season. Either they're both in on it, and it's for the fans and views, which is a good idea, or like the whole Michael Jordan documentary and Kobe documentary, they talked about how they created drama to feed off of it, play better. Like they had to find their arch enemy to create a problem to win in the end.
Almost sounds like the exact question I asked Deegan last week.
A little bit. I do kind of think, I mean, he's kind of admitted it. Like, he's like, whoever, like, if somebody's beating me, that's the guy. Like, I'm going to talk stuff. I do think it motivates him. Is it good?
I don't see a problem with it. I mean,
create a rivalry that's not necessarily really there, TJ?
I would say, I mean, it shows some mental weakness.
Mental weakness?
I think it shows mental weakness if you have to, like, what's the word? Like, make up some reason to want to go out there and try your best. That seems kind of retarded.
I think it's
I can't say that.
Yeah, well, you did.
But
I don't know what it is.
Opposite. I think it's like, hey, this is what I'm going to use to motivate me, and it's going to work. And I mean, that's not weak at all. I don't think.
I don't know. Like, that just seems kind of cheesy.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah, it seems like, come on, like, I'm going to go out there and do my absolute best. Now, if I don't like you, that's fine. And if you don't like me, that's fine. But to purposely, I have to put a target on somebody's back so I can try hard. It seems.
No, I don't think that's it.
That's not it. That's not how Jordan was. Jordan was always the greatest, but then he would
It was more just like.
But that's what you're saying that Deep.
No, it's more like, all right, watch this. Yeah.
No, if it motivates you to have a beef with somebody, that's totally fine. I'm saying it's kind of cheesy that if you have to have a beef to motivate yourself. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Like if you're not motivated without it is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
I think it's just a little cherry on top.
I just think he enjoys it and it kind of fires him up.
But did you say he looks for it?
I think he
creates
does.
it a little bit, yeah.
But that's as soon as like he had no problem with Juju until Juju started beating him. Then he's like, oh, I'm going to spin this thing a little bit and kind of create some drama.
That's what great champions do, though.
That's so dumb.
Dude.
Stop acting like an idiot.
So dumb.
You're the idiot. Don't be an idiot. Changed my life.
All right.
I was going to say, I don't know what it is if it's just because he's been gone for a few weeks, but I could not have disagreed more with every one of his takes tonight.
Mine?
Yes.
Oh. I think he does that on purpose.
He's creating a little beef. Yeah. That's really lame, TJ. You shouldn't do that. All
right, Vathik sent in, hey, Dark, I'm a huge lifelong, this is going back to our worst movies that we sat through. I'm a huge lifelong Star Wars fan. Every one of the sequel trilogy movies was like a giant kick in the nuts to my childhood. So there's 3 right there. Throw in Grease and some other stupid musical called La La Land. I believe that's an easy 5. My wife did make me go to see one of those terrible Fast and Furious movies in the theater because she loves those terrible movies. I'm not sure if I can count this one on my list, though, because I fell asleep for a time in the middle. Also, while Gremlins 2 was not as good as the first one, I still loved it. During the scene where you first see the spider gremlin, you briefly hear the song Angel of Death from Slayer, my favorite band. Keep up the good work. So that's a good one.
All right.
Let's see. I didn't do my due diligence and get these all ready ahead of time.
That's normal.
No, usually I have them screenshot and then I still screw up. Okay, going back to moto movies. My favorite, this is Shane Borden, my favorite moto movie is Epic from Verb Moto. It was close to the end of the movie era, but it was so good. Terra Firma 7 was one of my favorites also.
What was the one? There was one where they it had the name was in Spanish, and they were going down in Mexico and just being hooligans. Anyways,
I'm not
I
sure.
remember the name of that.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Got a few more minutes before we have to get Gage on. Dustin Lefebvre. Hey, Dark. I keep hearing all the podcasts about how Tom Vial should have this race in Foxborough because of his mud expertise from the MXGP season races he's done. Would this be a difference in Supercross and motocross? There's a difference in hanging off the back of the bike in the mud on a motocross track versus the slow speeds of a Supercross track. I think that's a pretty good point. I think just because if he had a lot of experience riding the mud in the GPs, doesn't necessarily translate to how Supercross works.
Yeah, did he ghost ride his bike over the finish line?
Yeah, but I don't think that was on purpose.
I know.
Yeah, because that cost him. I think the basic skill of riding in the mud, it would benefit there, but Supercross, slower speeds, the way the track develops is going to be quite different.
I think it goes back to what I was saying before. That is out of hand, where compared to what we see at most mud races where it's muddy, but they did a good job with the track design changes. But anyways,
any thoughts on it before we go?
No, I'm good.
Okay, last one. This is a weird, goofy question, but I liked it. Brian said, when you eat a cinnamon roll, first of all, would we all agree the center is the best part?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how many circles on a standard cinnamon roll are worthy of being thrown away? Like just the outer?
Oh, don't throw away any of them.
If you were like the outer's usually a little crusty and not as good.
It's delicious too.
First of all, I would choose biscuits and gravy 10 times out of 10 over cinnamon rolls.
But we're not talking about biscuits and gravy.
Okay, wow. I said first of all, that's what I would.
Changing the subject.
That's what. No. I said that's what I would do. But when I do eat cinnamon rolls, the first one I eat, you eat the whole thing. Second one, probably the whole thing. If you decide to do a third, I'm going to probably just do the center and not the outside because I'm getting full.
Are you talking about little tiny cinnamon rolls?
Like the ones that come in a can.
Okay, yeah, like a Pillsbury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
but
of
like
those
a Cinnabon. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they usually do a pretty good job where there's no bad part of those. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, who sells cinnamon buns on the way home? Cinnabuns.
Doesn't.
Oh, like on the way back home tonight?
I
thought it was Wendy's. Is it not Wendy's?
No, Sefco?
Oh,
are you talking about Cinnabon? The brand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a fast food restaurant that has them.
Oh, really?
I can't remember which one it is.
Figure it out on the way home.
That sounds pretty damn good.
Sounds really
it's not
good.
on my diet. Yeah, I think that's all the emails that I want to get to. I feel like
there was my stepmom used to buy the cinnamon rolls with the orange icing. Ugh, those were disgusting.
That sounds
terrible.
Yeah, I was like, oh right, cinnamon rolls, and then it was like, oh god, they're orange again.
But it's funny that sounds gross, but like orange popsicles, like the orange
yeah.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah,
like the Flintstone ones.
And then the chocolate that's in the shape of an orange, the orange chocolate.
Oh, I don't
all right, let's get to our next guest. He's going to be brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew continue to provide the best seats and foam available. If you want the same seats used by Rockstar, Husqvarna, Hep Suzuki, and many more, then you need Guts Racing. They have numerous color possibilities, staple or Velcro installation options, wing seats, and the best foam in the business with the Phantom Ultralight Seat Foam. Don't forget, they have complete seats for the Talaria and Super 73 and covers for the Sur-Ron and Segway, and they strive to ship orders within 36 business hours. Visit gutsracing.com. Use that promo code VITALMX to save 20%. Tonight, Guts Racing brings us from the Dirt Bike Depot team, our buddy Gage Linville. What's up, Gage?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are we doing?
We're doing good, man. Congratulations on your first career podium.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you a lot.
Dude, first of all, I'm stoked for you. I got to meet you for the first time last year. You came on the show, and we're a big fan. I love your personality, your attitude towards everything. But I feel like the riding you've done last year and this year, your results do not show your ability. And yes, this was a mud race, but I feel like this is a stepping stone, right, to getting to show your true potential.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel even like this season, like I feel like I've been riding really, really good. It's just on paper, it doesn't look good, if that makes sense. Like I've had some crashes and some stuff that's kind of a little bit out of control, but overall, I feel like I'm where I was or like where I need to be. It's just really having a little luck on my side. And I feel this weekend, like the luck happened, and obviously it was a mud race, so that helped me out anyway. But no, I mean, I feel like when the stars aligned, it can be really good. So
yeah, I've only been to a few races this season. I was at Birmingham, and then of course they don't show you on TV that much. But when I've seen you on the track, like it's there. I see you. You have the speed, you have the technique, and then, yeah, you'll have a little crash, you'll do some little dumb mistake or whatever that cost you, and it's like, oh. But, yeah, it's coming along. So before we dive into Foxborough and the mud itself, just what do you feel like you need to work on to get to the next step, your next step, and what is holding you back right now?
Yeah, so, I mean, to me, like, I could say I need to go faster than the Wolves. Like, I feel like that's what everybody would say, but honestly, I think it's, just a little bit everywhere. But I mean, then again, like, I feel like what's holding me back is more probably on the mental side. As bad as I hate to be that guy, but I have confidence in myself, but when you're getting, 15th and DNFs and 20th and crashing every weekend, like it's hard to keep believing that, I can be a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
So, this weekend definitely kind of calmed everything down. And the crazy thing is, like, I was telling my mechanic and my dad and stuff this weekend, like, it didn't even feel like a race. Like, the whole day, like, I was in – and I'm always in, like, a pretty good mood. But I try to be so serious on race days. And, I use the word locked in. Like, I try to be there, like, throughout the race day. But this weekend, like, I had the most fun racing even before the main event. Like that whole Thursday when I flew in to Friday to Saturday, like I had the best time at a track I've had, and I can't tell you when. Like the vibes were good. Like I laughed more this weekend than I ever have in my career, like through a race weekend. And I think that kind of helped my mental side a little bit. And it just felt like, so it was just a great weekend. I'll put it that way. Like,
why do you think?
Before that,
why do you think it was different this weekend specifically?
That's a tough one. Like I wish I could pinpoint something.
Well, you need to.
Yeah, no, for real. And so my dad's friend, one of his best friends, and I've known him my whole life. He was my mechanic this weekend, and it's one of those people like when you're with him, like you're gonna laugh. And we cut up the whole entire weekend. And so now his son's coming this weekend, and we're alternating back and forth till the end of the season, and hope for the same results.
All right, yeah, we're probably going to have some mud again, so maybe, yeah. The biggest thing, though, I'm taking away, we just talked to Colt Nichols, and he was talking about the mental side and just riding the bike and trying to enjoy it. And, I mean, that seems to be the theme of the night, and that's really what it comes down to. You got to go have fun. You got to enjoy it. You try to figure out how to not stress about it, because I do believe you have the ability. So, yeah, I think you got to figure that out, man. And you did it this weekend, so, yeah, just carry that over.
Absolutely.
Okay, the mud at Foxborough was nasty. You, I believe, said somewhere, I don't remember where I heard it, that you almost considered like not racing or pulling out because you wanted to save the bike. How much mud experience did you have, and did you realize that you came from dead last to third, bro? That was insane.
Yeah, so before the main event, I actually told our PR guy, Jack, I was like, hey, like, is it honestly worth racing? And he was like, no, like, you have to race. And then, as far as mud experience, like, I do a couple mud motos, like, throughout my career in practice. Like, I guarantee I've maybe done 5. And then obviously racing, like, at the Amateur Nationals, if you have a mud race, you have to. But I hate the mud. Like, I'm honestly a terrible mud rider. I don't know what happened this weekend, but I was really And, I don't know, like, and I really didn't even feel like I was going the fastest this weekend, but I just felt like really smooth, if that makes sense. And I was so worried about messing up my bike that I pretty much put my bike in third gear and lugged it the whole track. Obviously, like the tight turns, I'd go to second, but even the straightaways, like I was never wide open. Like I was so so locked in on not blowing my bike up. And I thought, as long as I don't crash, like I could probably walk away with the 10th. And I crashed in the first turn and I almost pulled off.
Well, we figured out how to win mud races or get on the podium. You just click it in third and save the bike.
Well, I think AP said the kind of same thing. Is like he wasn't really just pushing hard or trying to put the fastest lap in. He was like, I'm just trying to stay steady,
don't die,
not crash. Be smart, and that's really that's what got it done. The only person that being aggressive really worked out for was Cooper Webb on that last lap, and everybody else, it bit. So look at RJ, and RJ took. I think RJ was why you crashed in the first turn, right? He took Hammaker down, and then you.
Yeah, so when RJ came across, he splashed me with so much water I could not see. And so I hit the brakes trying to pull a tear off, and somebody ran into the back of me, and that's how I ended up.
Oh, okay. And then
so I guess it technically wasn't RJ's fault, but
he started the chain reaction. And you took some handlebar. I think on the post-race weed show, I saw you took some handlebars to the throat.
Yeah, so it was my throat and the tip of my collarbone. And I broke both of my collarbones before.
Uh-huh.
So anytime I anything touches them, they're super sensitive.
Yeah.
And when I did it, my collarbone kind of was tingling, and I couldn't talk, and I could almost knock the wind out of me, and I was hassling because the bar hit me in the throat. And once I kind of got my breath back, that's when I really noticed my collarbone was tingling, and I was like, there's no way. So then I started moving it, and then once I realized it was good, I could not find my bike. So once I started hitting and got moving, then I was like, all right, I'm going to give myself a lap. And I said, if I get sketchy or if I crash, I'm pulling in. I'm not going to destroy my bike for a 19th place.
How can you not find your bike? I don't mean to butt over you, but I got to hear more about this.
Yeah, so it was a Honda, and I originally thought it was Chance. And me and Chance talked about it after, and obviously it wasn't him. So I think it was Henry Miller.
Yeah.
So his bike was on top of mine, and he was under both of our bikes.
Okay.
So when we crashed, he was screaming, get the bike off of me. And I'm like, I can't breathe. I'm hassling. My last concern was, where's my bike? I'm like, am I hurt?
Wow.
Yeah. So I got up and got going, and I said, I'm going to give myself a lap. And if I crash, I'm just going to pull in and not risk doing damage to the bike. And where the whoops were, they obviously dozed them down. And I came through there and got so sketchy, went straight into a puddle. And I said, I'm not going to destroy my bike. We got to pull in. And then it was like, you know what? Just give yourself half a lap. And I don't know what I did, but I freaking killed those next two sections. I didn't get sketchy. I think I even put a double in there. And I said, we'll just give ourselves one more lap and see.
Awesome.
And I kind of did that. And then I got a thumbs up after the second lap because the first lap was a thumbs down. After that, we kind of just, I was like, I'm just going to, kind of take care of the bike, and wherever we end up, we end up.
Yeah, Gage, it's cool that these races happen where guys like you get these opportunities to have these moments, and the people will say oh, well, this may not mean anything for future races, or should Gage Linville get a factory ride? That stuff doesn't matter, but the moment itself where you and all the people that put the work in to get you to these races and to get that, to have that success and have a night like you did in Foxborough, just take us through that feeling and how it felt coming back to the trailer with that experience.
Yeah, it's an unreal feeling. It's hard to describe because just looking at, all the money my parents spend and, everybody in the team, how much their sponsors spend on us, and just to be able to have something to reward for that is insane. It makes justifying spending the hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in parts and bikes and travel. It makes all of it worth it. And especially because it was my dad's birthday yesterday. And he couldn't make it, Saturday. And he couldn't make it. So I feel like that was just the icing on the cake. It just, it just feels so good to be able to pay everybody who puts in on the program back.
Scotty touched on a point that kind of interests me. You go to the next round this weekend. Let's say the track isn't muddy. It's just a normal Supercross. You leave there with a 10th or a 15th, kind of where you said at the beginning of the races that you were kind of over. Does the motivation you gain from this weekend go away? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so obviously, a mud race, anything can happen. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't have luck on my side, because I did. But I also feel like at the end of the day, we're the best 22 guys out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't want to say you create your own luck, but at the same time, like, it wasn't just, I did crash, and a lot of other people crashed. And luckily enough, I was able to come through the pack and not crash again. But yeah, like you said, if I go out and get a 15th or a 10th, obviously I'm going to be disappointed, but I know if I do everything right, that I can get higher than that. And at the end of the day, I feel like if I do everything I can and I try my hardest, the result's the result. I don't want to leave saying I left something out there. If I go out there and get 15th, then that's just on me. But as long as I know I gave everything I did, I'll understand it. If that makes sense.
No matter how you walk away from this weekend, I can guarantee you there was no luck involved with that, especially when you talk about how you saved the bike and how you were riding. That was pure bike skill and racing smarts. Yep.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that.
Gage, I want to talk about training a little bit. I know last year you were working with Ezra Lusk a little bit. Now you're over at the Triumph facility working with Mike Brown. Was that something you started preseason? And if so, how was the preseason prep?
No. So, yeah, I moved to Triumph. It would have been, I guess, when everybody started their true Supercross prep.
Uh-huh.
And so, obviously, I didn't race SMX. And I started – when everybody took the 3 or 4 weeks off after SMX, I went ahead and started my Supercross prep. So I had a super, super early off season. And I did, pretty much my whole way up until January, the end of January, I want to say, with Ezra. And we, obviously it was still at the Triumph compound, and I had a really good off season. Thank God I had no injuries, and we really ticked away. We worked on a lot of stuff this year. And then I want to say the beginning of February is when I transitioned to Mike Brown.
Okay.
The same thing happened, man. We really freaking put in a lot of work. And I know some of the Triumph guys got hurt, but I had majority of the off season with those guys. I don't think the injury started to happen. I think Jaleel got hurt maybe November, December.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we had Styles, Austin, and Smitty out there the whole off season too. So this is by far the hardest and best off season I've ever had.
When my little buddy Aiden Kiefer gets back out there, I need you to just rough him up a little bit, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he should be coming back soon from what he told me today. So yeah, I want you to give him a little elbow and say that's from Dark Side.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So working with the dirt, I want to come back to Mike Brown. Well, actually, let's stick with that. Working with Mike Brown, what are some things that you're surprised by working with him? Maybe some things that you're impressed by, because the dude is a bad mother effer on a bike at his age.
Yeah, no, he's gnarly. Still to this day, he is absolutely insane. He does most of our workouts and stuff with us as well. And you do not want to see this man on a bicycle. It's honestly discouraging when we get out there and go for bike rides and he leads the whole time and pulls away from you. But no, as far as on the track stuff, we've really worked on just pure speed, just trying to get better in not just one area, but around the whole track, the whole areas. And I've been riding really, really good at the practice track. It's just, it hasn't fully been there for me at the races. And that's just something I feel like that when I get it to click, it's going to be big, and I feel like then I can be a consistent, top 8, top 7 guy. It's just, I have to figure out why I can't replicate it yet. But no, my confidence is good. I've had really good days even today was a really good day. So yeah, just see how it goes out in Philly.
If you guys are watching and listening to this on YouTube, like and subscribe for me. But figuring out how to transition what you're doing practice to race day. I know you don't have the answer because you said you're trying to figure it out, but do you think it's more mental right now? And it's just there's a switch probably that you have to kind of make the race feel the same as a practice day?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not questioning my fitness or my strength. I know I'm in shape. I'm the best I've ever been. It's just, I have to figure out mentally how to how to make a race day feel like a practice day.
Yeah.
You know, obviously with the nerves and everything, it's a little different, but just trying to make it feel like another day at the practice track with the guys.
What are some of the biggest thing that when you started working with Mike that he was like the crash course on, like the things that you had to change immediately, whether it was mental or physical? What were some of the things that he addressed with you first?
Yeah, so no, we really didn't change a whole bunch. It was just like fine tuning some stuff.
Right.
I feel like I've had some pretty good techniques throughout, especially since I really turned pro and really this off season. Like that's something me and Ezra worked on a lot, was technique and, you know, just getting more comfortable on the bike and moving around a lot more. So I feel like my technique was pretty good. We just kind of fine tuned, you know, like the whoops a little bit and, you know, slowing down to go faster in other words, in some areas. And, yeah, like I said, my practice track speed has been really good. So,
well, yeah, good to hear. I'm sorry, I thought you were going to continue talking. All right, so let's talk about those rumors. I know I asked you this, and you kind of heard the same rumors, that there was a moment where they were like, "Oh, Gage Linville might fill in for Triumph with the injuries." Was that actually ever? You told me, I think, that you never actually got talked to about that, right?
Yeah, so no, I definitely heard the same rumors you heard. And a lot of that started happening when Jalek got hurt.
Yeah.
And then I think a little bit past that is when they brought in another guy and he ended up, you know, crashing out too. And then I think that's kind of when everybody started to find out a little bit more that I'm at Triumph, like training, which I've been all off season. But they just kind of found out, and I think they kind of wanted to put two and two together. Obviously, if something like that were to happen, it would be a freaking dream come true. But no, there was no ever internal discussion like that. Obviously, I really wish there was, but
sure,
nothing like that ever came up. But yeah, I think that's kind of when people found out I was there, and then the injuries kind of happened. So I think they just started it.
Let's talk about the Dirt Bike Depot team and the help you're getting from team owner Max Schwartz and, of course, Jack Noel helping out. What is your deal like when you get a podium? Most guys are going to get a podium bonus or maybe some kind of extra. Do you have anything like that in your contract?
Yeah, so no, we don't have any kind of a bonus program. Luckily enough, we're able to take bikes, and they take all our bikes and stuff at no cost as part of being on the team. And, you know, that's great. And truth to be known, like truthfully, if you would have asked me in the off season, like, hey, you know, you're going to podium this round, I would have probably laughed at you.
Yeah.
You know, that was really never in discussion. But I will say, like, the Feld and the Supercross and all that, their payout for third was a lot better than their payout for 15th.
Yeah, for sure.
That was definitely nice to see. When I found out, actually it was Sunday on the plane ride, I actually Googled it. And that made the weekend just even more special. But no, the team's been, they're great. Like we have, I'd say, probably one of the best atmospheres in the paddock. And, you know, the vibes are always high regardless of how you do. And
sure,
going into the weekend, you know, I feel like everything Max does and Jack does for the team and Ty is on a professional level. You know, we show up to the track and our gear's already laid out, goggles are prepped, everything's cleaned in between practices. It's definitely one of the best privateer programs out there.
I dig it.
Hey Gage, we have a question from the chat. Tommy Toboggan said ask you how you did your cat eyes and his old lady is jealous.
The hell are you talking about?
I don't know, man. I just speak for the people.
Yeah, I'm be honest with you. He kind of has me lost on that one.
Okay.
How did I do my cat eyes? That's a good question.
I don't know.
Must have been the mud across his face.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got one from the Vital MX YouTube or forum chat. Zucchini Nib says, were you surprised how efficiently you were slicing through the pack, passing 19 riders? I believe is no joke, which you kind of answered that already, but.
Yeah, I had no clue. Like, obviously I knew I was passing guys, but there was guys crashing and and I was getting the blue flag, like, I don't know, the last 3 laps. And I thought I was getting lapped. And when I was at that point, I was like, dude, like I'm going to get so much hate on Supercross and the broadcast for this. It's like, cause I'm not moving out of the way. Like I'm going to be that guy. Cause I feel like if you tried to move, like the ruts were so long and muddy, like you were going to crash. And I thought, whoever's lapping me is going to hate me. I said, because I'm just not going to move out of the way. They're going to have to pass me. And luckily, well, thank God, I wasn't getting lapped because I probably would have got a lot of hate for that.
So is this the first time that you've had the blue flag for you?
Yes, it is. That's a pretty cool feeling.
Did you catch up to anybody who wouldn't get out of the way?
Yes. So I want to say it might have been last lap. And at the time, tensions are high. I was screaming. But at the same time, I thought I was passing for position too. So I wasn't too mad, but at the heat of the race, when people was going in their line and he almost stopped in the rut. And it was the 2 turns before the checkered. And I tried to go around the rut, almost crashed. And I thought, man, no.
You do see the irony there where you're like, I'm not getting out of the way, but then other people weren't getting out of the way for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, for sure.
All right, so Gage, man, really excited for you. Really happy about how your career is going. I'm stoked for you, man. I gotta say, we got to get better at qualifying and starts and that mental side. And I think you're going to see a lot more success come your way, and maybe some more top 10s, and just keep moving up.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Like you said, just I feel like it all starts in qualifying. Giving yourself a better gate pick for the heat, and obviously doing better in the heat for the main event, and kind of just trickles down from there. So I think if can get just a little better on the weekends with everything, all that, my mental side, then I think we'll be right where we need to be. So, all
right, last one for you, Gage Linville tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. This is another forum question from Boxcar Willie on Vital Forum, but this was sort of a general question, and he says, I'm not really sure this is for the riders, but maybe you'll know. This guy would love a rundown on what you had to do or your mechanic had to do to plan on rebuilding for the next race after Foxborough. How much damage was done to the bike? What did you have to replace maybe more than normal?
Yeah, my whole bike's destroyed.
Oh, geez.
As far as it's bad. Obviously it didn't blow up or anything. It didn't suck any water, but it's rough. And obviously we don't frame the bikes every weekend like that.
Sure.
Like the factory guys do. So actually we're going to fly an engine guy out, and he's going to rebuild the bike Friday morning. So
oh, wow.
We'll rebuild the engine then, and not necessarily frame the bike, but take out everything that could have got damage to it. Redo all the bearings and stuff like that, grease the axles, all that good stuff, as much as pretty much we can do in a day. So,
bro, just leave it. You're gonna have to deal with it again this weekend anyway. Just leave it.
That's what it's looking like, and I'm a lot of people think I'd be looking forward to it. A part of me is, because I'm like, hey, what happened last weekend in the mud?
Yeah. You don't want to spend your entire third place earnings on rebuilding your bike so you can go do it again.
Rebuilding the bike, yeah. That mud, it destroys it. And it's hard on the bikes, and I'm not going to say I got lucky with my bike making it the whole night last weekend, but if something happens and it don't make it, then you have to worry about finding an engine and getting an engine and all that. It's tough.
You're riding gas, right?
KTM.
Oh, you're on KTM. Oh, okay, close enough. Go over there, hit up Ian, and say, hey, look, man, I got a podium last week. I need a little help.
Yeah, let me just borrow an engine for the night.
Bro, literally, you could at least go up, and that's actually something I would tell you if you haven't told this, is go introduce yourself to these team managers. I was told that years ago when I first started doing this, that like John Short was one of my buddies, and go introduce yourself to these team managers, because when they do need a fill-in ride, they'll be like, oh, remember that kid? You go put your face in front of them where they know what you look like and they know your name, and say, hey, I just got a podium last week.
Podium trophy in your hand.
That could help. It's like, hey, if there's anything you could do to help me out, I'm doing this on a budget. My bike was destroyed. They might throw you some parts, dude. It's happened.
Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, I would suggest go introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good point. I think that Friday when I get there, that's probably what I'm going to go do. Just in case, too, is we only have a certain amount of parts on the rig.
Sure.
Stuff that we bring. I Obviously, it's probably more my fault because I should anticipate having at least one motor. But, we get into that engine and something's bad and I don't have, I'm not going to have a choice but to go up and see if anybody, has a spare or something I can buy off of them from it.
Yeah, they might be willing to help you out, man. I mean, obviously I can't guarantee that, but it's happened in the past. So, but Gage, thanks for getting on here, man. I really enjoyed talking to you, and we're hoping nothing but the best for you.
Thank you guys. And I appreciate it so much for you having me on and just kind of getting everything out there, and look forward to talking to you guys soon.
Sounds good, bud. See you later.
Yes, sir. See you.
Right. Gage Linville tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. I do like that kid, man. He's, again, I say that with a lot of riders, but his personality, you can just tell he's excited. He's still passionate. It's cool.
Yeah. I thought you were going to tell him to take business cards and pass them out for a second.
That's pretty good.
I don't know why do you guys really think that's a dumb idea? Be honest.
I do that.
No, it's not. It's that's why I laugh. That's why it's funny, is because
why he makes it's so ridiculous.
Because he didn't have to do that.
I was starting a
he didn't
business,
have to do that. Yeah.
And you promote your business.
I would have done the same thing.
And
you did fine.
He's like, well, I can't believe you go to the lines at the races and pass them out. Where else would I pass them out?
They didn't know. Yeah.
Am I going to go to my local Mexican restaurant and hang them up? No, I'm going to go to where the moto fans are.
I just don't think he gets it because he was already in the pits for 15 years before he started doing that, and everybody already knew who he was.
Hey, did you know that when he places the order for the pizza for us, that when they hang up with the pizza guy, they tell each other that I love you?
Okay.
Well, hey.
So go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
He
Please
literally
explain.
says I love you, and then he says I love you, and they hang up.
That's kind of funny.
I don't know how to respond to this because it's sort of true.
No, it's not sort of. It's 100% true.
So Sam, who runs this local pizza place, has been there since I was in high school.
I love you.
Everybody knows him. He's never answered the phone before. It's always this other girl, and she'll go, "Oh, is this Jamie?" Because it's the same order every Tuesday. When I said my name at the end of this call, it was Sam. This time he's like, "Love you, buddy," or whatever.
No, he said, "I love you," not buddy. I love you, and he goes, "I love you too." Click.
I didn't really say it like "I love you too."
No, that's how
I think I said "love you too," man. But still, okay.
No. Sorry,
you're partially right. I don't know what that has to do with anything we're talking about.
It doesn't. Just remembered it. Nope, don't do it. Nope.
No, I was just trying to see if there's anything else good I could play.
There's a guy that I follow.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting,
or tell people I love you,
make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a guy I follow on Instagram that it's called John Breaks Bad News, and people email him things that he calls these people and tells them things that they don't want to say to their face, I guess. And then he'll say
Dude,
he'll tell them this crazy shit that these people want to tell him, and then at the end of it he's always like, "I love you." And then they're sometimes they say it, sometimes they don't. And he's like, "Say it back." Yes.
What's it called?
John Breaks Bad News.
Oh,
yeah, it's a good one.
That's Instagram.
On IG?
Yeah, it's on Instagram. I'm sure he's on everything, but I follow him on Instagram.
That sounds pretty funny. That might be a good follow.
I'm actually looking for it right now.
ETS Racing Fuels was forged from the heat of competition nearly 30 years ago, developing purpose-engineered fuel for high-profile teams and highly competitive series. We have been the power behind many podium wins ever since. Teams using ETS Racing Fuels have won more than 50 national and world champion titles, and we continue to forge new alliances and partnerships across motorsports. ETSRacingFuels.com. Find your local distributor. They're supporting teams like Factory KTM, Factory HRC Honda, Rockstar Husqvarna, Rockstar Gas, Factory Triumph, Tedder KTM, Mad Parts Kawasaki, half the teams in the paddock, ETS Racing Fuels. Okay, T-Bolt USA Top 5. Working on getting our next guest lined up. He'll be ready in just a few minutes. So let's do this, and then we'll go to our next guest. If you're a pit bike enthusiast and love shredding around on a CRF 110, a KLX 110, or whatever you have, you need TBoltUSA.com bookmarked on your web browser. T-Bolt USA is a pit bike supply site that is everything you need for your pit bike. From PBR handlebars to D&M shocks and even full bikes from YCF and Pitster Pro Bikes, T-Bolt USA has it all. They even have parts or can find a matching part for your Chinese bikes that you probably bought before Christmas for your grandchild, and it sat there for 12 years because it just is junk. You'll find pit bikes, engines, and parts at TBoltUSA.com. T-Bolt USA top 5 this week, chosen by TJ. Things that were better before cell phones. TJ, I'm gonna let you go first since it was your pick.
I'm kind of bummed because I only have 4 that I can really think of. And it sounds terrible. I thought it was
your idea.
That was my idea, but I mean, anyways, the top 4 things that were
Top 4.
yeah. Okay. Anyways, you could get away with things like there was no cameras, like there was no cell phone cameras.
That's a good one.
So if you did something dumb, there wasn't like proof of
Okay.
it. That the kids, I liked it. My kids grew up before cell phones, and then I see how my nieces and nephews and stuff are, and the kids didn't just shut themselves in their bedrooms or even sitting on the couch next to you. Their faces are in the phones, and like there was roughhousing and playing and going outside doing stuff. My memory of phone numbers was better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I literally was thinking about today. I was like, I wonder if I can remember my childhood. One of my childhood.
Like, dude,
and
you
I
had
can,
to.
I can remember my childhood phone number from high school.
I can remember the last 4.
Like what do you like? If you get in a situation, you had to know some numbers.
Yeah.
Like you had to.
Yeah, and I barely remember my own.
Yeah.
And the number 1 thing is calling 411 because I didn't have to worry about spelling.
That's a good one. Calling 411 was going to be on mine because it was just cool.
Yeah.
Like you can call and it'd be like tell you what's going on and like what movies we're playing and all kinds of shit.
And then then you could call. What was the number to get the time? There was a number you could.
They
dial.
still do that in Tyler. They still do time and temp. You can still do it.
I don't remember the numbers though.
There was a number you would
could
dial.
Google it,
and it
probably.
would say,
I don't know what the number is.
time is.
But the city I live in still has one.
And it would just roll through.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh
Anyways.
yeah. What do you got, Scotty?
All right, so mine were phone books. That's
better?
I liked having phone books because as a kid, when we still had one, like when we were trying to figure out what we were going to eat, I would just go to the restaurants and just
White
like
page, or yellow pages?
yellow pages and just flip through and like I don't know, I just
Oh, I
enjoyed.
forgot about white and yellow pages.
Yeah.
They're separate. Sorry.
And I don't know, I just thought it was cool to like sometimes you just look at the phone book and be like, oh, I wonder what so and so's. I don't know. I like
had
phone
friends.
books. Yeah. Okay.
He was looking for friends.
Yeah. Hey, just call him up. Hey, will you be my friend?
Can you be my buddy?
Yeah.
Actually, that's it. That's my number 5 was the crank calling people.
Oh yeah.
Just random
okay.
phone
Yeah,
numbers.
you can't really do it now because people just don't answer.
Yes, people don't answer.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's what I do when like you call me and I do know who it is.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna answer.
Kind of like TJ's. Like I feel like we would play outside more. We wouldn't be just in our phones. Like we would actually like I was told like I'm not allowed to come in the house, and then like the local news would be like it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? Like we were so carefree and like would do stuff that they forgot that they had us.
Yes. At 10 o'clock at night, our parents had to be reminded they had kids.
Yeah, bring them inside. It's 10 o'clock. They're done. Yeah, I would ride my bike in the dark, like, especially like on a weekend night. Like I would just ride around the neighborhood like 10 o'clock at night.
I still enjoy the flavor of water hose water.
Yeah. But this doesn't really have anything to do with the fact that cell phones came in. It's just there's more of us now, but there was no area codes back then. You just dialed the number.
That's true. And everything that was outside your area code was long distance, though.
Yeah, I guess that kind of sucks, but I don't know. That's just one I thought
forgot
of.
that you didn't have to dial the area code.
That's right.
I forgot that.
The fact that now when everybody goes to like an event, they're not enjoying the event. It's like showing like, oh, I was at this event. Here's my life through this phone. Would like
they're not experiencing
you'll
it.
see it on, you'll see like somebody did something on Instagram and you're like, oh man, I'm kind of jealous that like they did these cool things. But like I promise you, like they were lame the whole time that they were there. They didn't actually like get involved and do anything. They just filmed it and then sat back on their phone and shared the stuff.
I go to a concert and I'll film like 30 seconds of a song, within the rest of the time horns are up.
Yeah, but I feel like that's different. I feel like that's just recording. Like you're like, hey, I was here.
Yeah.
But like living like through your phone at these events.
A lot of people.
Okay,
a lot of people do
that,
like
sure.
influencing mentality.
Okay, I'm with you.
That and then the fact that like everything's like I'm right now. Like I'm right now because you can just Google it. Like the I'm right effect kind of thing. Like back then, like I feel like arguments were more fun back then, or discussions were more fun because you couldn't really like prove it wrong. Like you would just like you would actually have to use logical like
you
critical
didn't have
thinking.
An encyclopedia?
I mean, you did, but like when you're sitting at a campfire. You just
Or
going to
you're
go
on the- you're on
inside
the
and grab the
school
world
bus or
book.
whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
or at the dirt bike track, you're going to bring your whole case of
New car did
encyclopedias.
500 miles an hour.
Yeah, just you could make up stuff and just
Yeah.
argue about
So
it.
you
Nobody can
enjoyed
prove you wrong.
lying. Okay, fair enough.
No, it was just I feel like discussions
you.
were better. Yeah,
Is that it?
I think that's 5. Yeah,
Okay, I didn't have 5 because I
was
don't
hard.
overall.
because it was a dumb top 5. Yeah, we know.
But I agree. The kids being outside, that's I didn't have that on my list, but that's actually probably the number one.
Yeah.
When it comes to, but I was thinking more of as an adult
Right.
or whatever. But
He was an adult.
I hurt my neck hurts less because now my head's always down instead of up where it should be, and the cost of a phone bill. So I put money.
You have money?
I didn't really have anything else other than that because I like being able to Google something when I don't know anything or whatever. I like all the things most of the things you said were kind of like negatives.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah. I will say this. This is kind of on the same subject.
But it's nostalgia frames.
If you Google this and look it up, I can't remember the artist's name, but there's a famous photographer who took all these pictures of people in New York City and then used AI to remove the cell phones out of their hand, and not AI, but phone, but like Photoshop.
Sure.
It's the most. What's the word you're looking for? Like dystopian thing. You ever seen people just sitting there? And somebody said, it was on Joe Rogan. Somebody said, I think it was Joe Rogan himself. He said, what if we made a drug that you could take, that you could pay for, that just made you stare at your hand for 5 hours a day? Nobody would pay for it, and yet we do it with our phones.
But that's not the same thing. Staring at your hand and staring at cool
Yeah,
videos.
that's kind of
if it gave you a drug that you just sit there and stare at your hand and it was enjoyable. I'm just saying, like
That's kind of a dumb take if I'm
I
being
do
honest.
feel like that's not.
I mean, how I don't know.
I agree with you that the dystopian thing is really sad and like we are like addicted to these phones and it's the dopamine thing.
If
It's
I'm
bad.
standing in line at CVS for 15 minutes.
Use your brain and think
I'd
about
rather-
it.
Like I think it's like it used to be more
rather watch the
normalized
video.
to like just talk to random people.
I
Like,
do that.
Yeah, I still do too. But like that's like taboo now almost.
I went to the DMV today and was sitting in there, and just some random person next to me, we just struck up a conversation.
I feel like that's more. I'm not saying that it's extinct, but it's more rare than it used to.
I know,
be.
and that's sad.
Yeah,
So
I
that's-
agree.
That should be the number one.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I like.
Thief.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our next guest. He's on the line. He's going to be brought to you tonight also by Racetech. As you guys know, world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company. For nearly 40 years, Racetech has been supplying the motorcycle industry with high quality suspension components made right here in the USA. From modern to vintage, Racetech is your go-to source for suspension performance. Racetech.com. Find your local service center. Meet your local tech. Get your your suspension serviced. Tonight, Racetech brings us from the International Supercross race team, Logan Leitzel. What's up, Logan?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing good. First of all, is your last name Leitzel or Leitzel?
It's Leitzel.
Okay, because Lee Diffie said it wrong during the race, and I was like, I need to ask to make sure I'm saying it right.
Surprise?
Yeah, no, he butchered it. He butchered it so many times, but
Well-
it's all good.
Well, first of all, man, congrats on making the main and having a really great night. How has working with Jericho and Bubba Polly on this team been for you, man? It seems like it's a pretty good opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. I've kind of been a true privateer pretty much my whole career.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of help with DVD last year, which that kind of platformed me a little bit into this. And getting the support that I've had from Derek and Bubba, like I feel like a factory rider. Like it's pretty unreal. So to have that backing, it's given me the confidence and belief to, try to take the next step in my career. And, heck, I was trying to retire last year. So now they brought me out of the woodworks. And so here we are. And, I need to do it in the dry. I need to do something in the dry before I really get too happy on myself.
Yeah. Were you considering retiring because the results weren't coming and you were getting frustrated and thought, hey, man, this is not for me?
Well, I actually had my best year ever last year.
Yeah.
And then it was just tough. I was doing it on my own. And the money was, you know how it is, the Supercross. It can get hard, especially as a privateer. And so get a house and kind of set up for the future. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, but it's tough. The heart's in it, right? So my heart's in it. I really do believe in myself that I have more in the tank. And so, yeah, I just kind of kept grinding back at home kind of quietly. And then when I got the call, I was, try to seize the opportunity as best as I could.
Yeah, I believe I went and did a little research on you because I didn't know a lot about you. And your first ever Supercross was 2020 at Daytona, and then COVID hits, I think, and you kind of, you had to regroup. And last year, if I'm not mistaken, you made 2 main events.
Yeah, those are my first ever too.
Yeah, so this was your 3rd main event in Foxborough, right?
Yeah, my 3rd ever. Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
It really is. I mean, that's a struggle, right? There's a lot of guys that do this for years and years and never make a main event, and you've made this one. It might have been muddy. Who gives a shit? You made it. So now it's time to take whatever you can from that and move on. So what do you feel like you need to do in your program to make this consistent where you're making the mains?
I think it just comes down to more routine. I feel like my mindset is still I treat it as fun almost in a way.
Yep.
Obviously I've taken it a lot more serious the past couple of weeks, but I still work part-time. I'm back home right now, literally just got done eating dinner at a Mexican restaurant with my family. So
nice.
I still live a very normal life. I literally rode local practice today with 65s on the track. So, maybe just getting a little bit more routines, change a couple things up. And, it's obviously been hard to really just change everything mid-season and do this because I was all planning to ride my 250. Oh, someone's car alarm's going off. That's great.
It's not that loud. It's fine.
That's how he pays for his racing.
Stealing cars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you stealing cars, Logan?
No.
Gotta get to the race.
Yeah, no. I don't know who the heck. They got it though. We're all good. But no. So I would just say more routines, and I think I'm getting that now with Derek and Bubba. They're helping me take that next step. So, and let me give a shout out to Heartraft too. Heartraft is who does all my my actual programming for workouts and stuff. So
nice.
Yeah, they're having those 3 guys in my corner. I think that's going to be the key to success.
Brandon is rad, dude. I miss Brandon being at the races. He's such a fun smile. That smile, man, is infectious.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's really helped me a lot in my career.
Good. So Derek Rankin, he texted me earlier and said that he made a deal with you. As part of your deal, if you make 2 main events, you get a full contract with salary for 26. So a couple more chances, man, including a couple showdowns and a muddy race this weekend. You got to lay it out on the table, man. Yeah. No, I it's kind of funny, but I'm pretty nonchalant about it. I told Derek, I'm not worried. I really, really do believe in myself. I mean, Derek can tell you, he sees it during the week. I've, as far as the lap times go and just what I can do on a dirt bike. And these guys have really been instilling that belief in me. And so I know I can do it. I finally rode during the week today. I rode a little bit, didn't ride much, but I feel like I'm kind of back now. So if we get a dry race, mud race, I feel like I can do it either way. No matter who's there, I can be with those guys, whether it's in the LCQ or the 8, 7, 8, 9 spot in the heat, so be it. I really believe in myself that I can run with these guys and beat Morans and beat Starling, and, I can do it. So I just got to keep believing and make it happen. We just got done talking to Gage Linville, and before that we had Colt Nichols on, and both those guys kind of said the same thing. It's about having fun and believing and just knowing you can do it. That has been the theme of this particular show we're doing this week. And yeah, I think that goes a long way. If you go in there with any doubt, you're going to struggle. Yeah.
And I'm very good at I don't know, manipulating the competition in a way. I always especially with Bubba and Derek, I do it to Bubba and Freddie all the time. I'll constantly be in the rig and be oh man, I'm just so scared to ride today, or I don't want to do this or do that. And then especially on Saturday, I was doing it the whole time. I was oh man, I don't think I'm going to make the night show. And they I don't know if they're catching on or not yet, but for the most part, I'm pretty much messing around. But yeah, Bubba went on a podcast earlier. Was he didn't think he was going to make the night show, but in my head, I knew that I believe that I could make the night show. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, I like to do that, and just because for me, it actually helps me relax. Because if I kind of put those low expectations kind of in my head as a joke, and then when I do good, it's great, and then if I do bad, it's okay, I know what I need to work on now. So it's mental. It's all mental, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, not all mental, but it's a lot mental. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Got it.
Hey, Logan, with this weekend being the one of the topics of discussion was with the only one qualifying session that some of the 250 guys that were in Group A didn't get in because the track was like messed up and stuff. And I just, from a guy like your perspective that's saying 450 Group B or Group C qualifying, like, it's like, come on, guys, like y'all don't know what we do every week. Like, it's got to be kind of laughable to hear them complain about that when y'all just get a roach track constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't care. Yeah, I'm used to it. Roach track, fresh track, it don't matter. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, like you still have to perform. Like I don't know who's complaining or who's not, but I mean, if you didn't make it out of the group, you didn't make it out of the group. Like there was plenty of guys that did. So it is what it is. Rod Bell was actually making me laugh because he said when he finished the main event, he's like, yeah, I put on for all the 450 Group B guys. And he's like, they don't understand how hard it is out there. I was like, yeah, dude, like, I get it. Because, you look at our quality times and I get these kids from 250 class like, oh, dude, I smoked you. And it's like, dude, you ain't got no idea. You ain't got no idea. Because it happened in Dallas. There was kids that raced the 250 class. And I don't even think they made the night show. Like, they were struggling. And they realized, like, the track is just, it's another level. Like, it's not the same at all.
For sure.
So I can't even talk. What's the reason for doing the 450 instead of staying on the 250?
Derek Rankin.
Like, is it easier in Supercross? Harder? Like, can you I guess go
more comfortable?
Yeah, get more depth on that.
Yeah, so I would say like it's definitely been taking a bit of time to get used to it. Like I'm a pretty big dude. Like I'm 6'2", 210. So the 250 was getting tough. Like. It was getting hard on me to really even be competitive because, I mean, being such a bigger dude, I couldn't get starts. So
right.
I think last year, I can be honest with you, I think me making the mains last year in the 250 class, being how heavy I was pretty dang impressive because
Absolutely.
I guarantee you there's no one else out there that's weighing 200 plus on a 250. So, Rankin put me on the 450 and I think after a couple weeks now, I realized I'm like, wow, like I have so much more potential in this class than I ever do in the 250 class. So, I mean, it's going to take some more adjusting and getting stronger. Obviously, like I tend to have moments where I drop the elbow and the old 450 gets out from underneath me. I mean, I think I've looped it out or skywheeled a few times at the compound. So, just getting the beast under control and just trying to get better, really.
Logan Leitzel tonight brought to you by Race Tech. Now, you did the Futures program back in 2020 also, didn't you? That was like early days of the Futures program.
Yeah, I'm OG. Yeah, I am an OG Futures rider.
That was, I think you were doing that, TJ, back when we, all the vets and everybody raced on the same day, right? It was totally different back then.
Yeah. I was, I won the college boy class that day too. So yeah, I was racing whatever class I could get my hands on, 250, open, college boy, I was there.
He did the same time Doc did.
Yeah, because you did it in Arlington, correct?
Yeah, I got my license in Arlington.
Okay, yeah we were there because we're East Texas, so that's where we're based out of. Do you feel like that program, I know it's changed a lot, it's now SMX Next, but do you feel like that opportunity racing in the stadium helped you and benefited you a bunch?
To be honest, no. The program that we did, no. And I only say that, like, it's no disrespect to the Futures program, but, like, the track that we raced on was just so stupid. Like, it was those rolled off. I mean, it was like a mellowed out pit bike track. Like, it was absolutely pointless. I mean, I think what they're doing now is really good. I think they have it right now. I would have killed to been a Futures kid now and actually learn it there. You know what I mean? Like, at the stadium, under the lights, racing the track, not racing a 50cc track. So my day, no. But right now, I think they're doing it right.
So the one thing I would say about that is now it's like invite only. So
yeah, I don't agree with that. But I mean,
that's what I was about to say. That's the downside is how would some kid who doesn't have like the biggest Loretta's record or is not that good in outdoors, but can ride Supercross style tracks better, kind of gets the short end of the stick.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I don't think it's totally fair. I ran into that actually maybe 2 years ago with a buddy of mine who was trying to get his license and like could not get in. Like, I think he got in like the very last one of the year and got like a 9th or something. Like, just these kids getting the opportunities, like it's obviously so popular, right? Everybody wants to ride Supercross. I don't know. In my opinion, I think they should open it up to like 30 maybe, and then like 8 guys don't make it or something.
Right.
Just at least give them that chance. Because at that point, I mean, I don't know, 30 is a bit much, I guess, on the track for quality, but I don't know. It's kind of tough with the whole invite thing, but it is what it is.
It's still better than what we had before. So yeah, I think it's a good development program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Logan, when going back to the race at Foxborough with the chaos and everything that was going on, did you know where you were at? Like, did you have any idea where you were? Where did you think you were? And like, when you got done, like, just how was that feeling after the race was done?
Yeah. So it's actually funny. Every single lap when you came out of the corner after like the fake whoops or like where the whoops were supposed to be, that straightaway, I would look up at the TV and I knew that I was like top 12, top 11 there at the beginning. So I would keep looking up at the TV and I'd look at the left side where they show the numbers. And if I saw the 208, I knew I was top 11. So every lap every lap I would look up at the TV if I'm top 11. And it was funny because I never dropped out of 11th the whole race. So I was on the board the entire time.
That's cool.
And I got passed by, I think, Malcolm at one point, and I went back to 12th for like 2 corners and then he fell. So I knew that I was 10th. And when I came to the finish line, like I knew I had gotten 10th. And then we found out about Cooper's dock like after the race. Like we were at the wash pad. They're like, yo, you got 9th. And I'm like, no way. So yeah, the biggest thing was his last 2 laps. I was like, just got to get it home. Right. The bikes was smoking. Like I actually used like basically first gear the entire last lap, like try to not use my clutch, like just get the thing home. So, which in hindsight's funny because I didn't realize I had 10th on lock because everyone else was 2 laps down. So I was actually fine.
Yeah.
But it was crazy race, dude. Wild.
Well, I'm happy for you, man. That's really cool to see somebody like yourself get a little bit of success like that. And hopefully you can transition that. I want to ask you, what kind of music do you like?
Well, I'm into rock music, rock and like club music, but more rock than anything. Like I'd say like Disturbed and 3 Days Grace and stuff like that. And then I know Rankin listens to like some gnarly stuff.
That's what I want to ask. Is he teaching you some metal? Yeah. You getting some Lamb of God?
No, I mean, like, I don't mind it, but like, I ain't driving to it. Like if I'm driving to it, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, but I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'm all for it though. Like I like my rock music, but sometimes I hear Rankin listen to that in the shop, dude. And I'm like, you can't even understand what the guy's saying. Like it's just screaming.
He definitely likes some stuff that one of his favorite bands is Lamb of God, and I love that band. But some of the stuff he listens to is a little heavier than my taste. But our musical taste is pretty similar, though. So yeah, you need to get him to take you to a Lamb of God show, man. It'll change your life.
All right, I'm down.
But all right, so just one more, I guess, for you. What are your goals? Do you have your goals changed after this? Top 10. Do you feel like now that maybe your goal was top 10 before, but now has it changed any going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed now because with scoring so many points, a national number is like possible. Like it is definitely within reach. I've never once in my life have I ever thought I could get a national number. And, I've progressed quite a bit, but never thought I could get to this point. So I'd say goal is the national number. I would be so freaking happy if I even got 99. That is a main goal. Obviously, let's get in another main. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But to really, I guess, prove to myself, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. In my opinion, I always say that, I need to prove everything to myself because at the end of the day, when I go home at night, I want to be happy, right? So I need to make a main in the dry. I need to make a main in the dry to let, just tell myself that, hey, I'm one of these guys. So that's the main goal. Make a main in the dry, and then I'll be happy.
Well, good luck with that. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on your name and hoping that you get that next main. I want to see you back on the team next year for 26. And I want to share a text. I hit up Jericho earlier. I was like, man, I don't know a lot about Logan. Can you tell me something about him? And he kind of told me about how your opportunity came about. But the last little couple lines of his text says, his personality is great, very likable and easy to work with, very grateful for the opportunity. Definitely likes to keep it light and is funny without realizing he's funny. So very nice words from Derek, and I thought you might enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually tearing up a little bit at the moment.
Well, don't do that. He'll call you like a pussy or something.
No. Yeah, I love the group. Like, these guys are awesome. They let me be myself, which I think is, at the end of the day, is just the biggest factor in success is, letting a person be themselves, which they let me do. They don't really come down on me too much. Like, if I'm goofing off, or so be it. And, we put in the work, right? So if we have a bad day, we have a bad day. But at the end of the day, like, as long as the effort's there and we're improving, that's all that matters. And I think they understand that. So it's been good. It's been real good.
Good to hear, man. I'm happy for you. I don't know the mechanics very well, but I know Bubba fairly well, and Derek obviously, and then Freddie. Just good group of guys. Couldn't be a better group of guys to be around. So more, I hope the best for you going forward, buddy.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. Take care, and good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right. See ya. That's Logan Leitzel, brought to you by Race Tech. Yeah, good group of guests tonight, I feel like.
Yes, sir.
Pretty happy. Pretty happy. I didn't come up with a Barnett clutches pick one.
I thought we did.
No, I don't think we did. We didn't come up with it. If you guys have one off the top of your head, because I have one that's just really dumb.
There was one in the group chat.
Was there? Well, I'll do the read, and you tell me what it was if there is one. With 75 years of experience behind them, Barnett Dirt Digger clutch kits feature friction materials exclusive to Barnett for maximum performance and durability. Get 10% off with promo code VITALMX, all caps, at barnettclutches.com, and feel the Barnett difference. Again, we always say that if you guys are riding, hell, if you're riding in the mud this weekend in Foxborough, you're going to need a new clutch probably. So Barnett can hook it up. Top of the line, best in the business.
I was tripping. There was
okay. I didn't think there was.
It was because you had so many suggestions.
I gave a few suggestions for top five.
Yeah.
The email for the show, if you want to get involved, you want to give us some suggestions for top fives, pick ones, FXR picks for the next race, whatever. The email is motoxpodshow@gmail.com. We love to hear from you guys. How about this? This is super.
I got one.
Yeah, right.
What was yours?
No, mine's dumb. So go ahead.
Since we talked about it earlier, cinnamon rolls, pancakes, or waffles.
You go first, TJ. I'm texting Logan real quick. Tell him thank you.
Cinnamon rolls,
pancakes, or waffles.
I would have to say probably cinnamon rolls, but yeah, out of those three, I like waffles more than pancakes last. Pancakes would be last.
Especially like Waffle House waffles with some chocolate chips in them. Oh,
dude.
man.
Waffle House is their prices are going up.
No, it sucks, but I still do it.
Oh, I will, but we don't have one around.
The closest one's Longview.
I know, it's terrible.
Yeah.
What's that?
Waffle House.
He said it's terrible, or it's because
no, that it's terrible because we don't have one.
Well, see, another reason for you to move near here because it's.
I'm looking at it.
Where are you moving?
Yeah,
we can talk about it later.
Yeah. That's a tough one for me. Like, to me, a cinnamon roll is not like, if I was going to have breakfast, I would pick a pancake or waffle, and I would go waffle. Is that how I said it?
Waffle.
Or are you just?
I'm just being ridiculous.
The cinnamon roll is more like, I'm just going to have almost like having a donut. It's not really part of my breakfast.
I eat like 12
donuts are breakfast food, though.
I mean, yes, technically it is, but like if I'm going to sit down and have a breakfast, I'm going to go waffles, eggs. So I'm not going to. The cinnamon rolls almost
even when I go to
dessert.
When I go to a donut shop, I don't even get donuts usually. I get pig in blankets or croissants or like a sausage, egg, and cheese croissant or something.
Yeah.
I like Walmart's donuts because they're heavy. Like, they're not soft and fluffy.
I think if I had to pick, though, my pick would be cinnamon rolls as my favorite of those three.
Yes.
But more likely, if I was going to sit down for a meal at breakfast, I would go waffles. I just add you to it.
Waffles.
To me, it depends on like the blue quality waffle? Of it. And I was going to say that, but I kept my mouth shut. I was going to say you liked your favorite was blue waffles, but it kind of depends on where I'm getting it from. Like where is it a homemade one or like frozen? I'll take a frozen waffle over a frozen pancake.
Dude, I used to eat frozen waffles.
Yeah, they're not that good.
No, but I don't know why I did that
because it was. Hey, let go of my ego, dude.
Sometimes I would just heat the waffle up and not put butter or syrup on it.
You know what actually is good is I would do a waffle with either peanut butter or
hot waffle or frozen.
The frozen. Well, you didn't.
In jail, we used to get peanut butter.
Well, you
with
said
our
eat a
pancakes.
frozen waffle a while ago.
The frozen waffles, I'd cook them. I didn't just chew them like ice.
You ate them frozen.
No,
did you?
They were frozen.
I have done it. Like just like
what? No, I don't know. Just threw it in the microwave.
peanut butter.
What, a microwave?
Or the toaster?
The toaster.
Okay, yeah,
I would do that. Hey, peanut butter does not belong on waffles. It's okay on pancakes because they did that in jail. And it was delicious.
It was okay on waffle. Or actually with they're good with cream cheese too.
I don't like cream cheese.
I like cream cheese, but that sounds terrible.
With the frozen waffles, cream cheese and egg on it is actually pretty good.
The only time cream cheese is allowed is when you're eating crepes.
Or a bagel.
Crepes?
Or a bagel.
I'm talking about like.
Are you guys going to keep saying those words over and over?
Yeah.
Crepes? Bagels? Crepes?
Bagels? Crepes?
You mean the little.
But I never actually choose one, so I'll say.
Oh, well, you better choose one.
Yeah, I've been hanging out with this for too long. I'm going to say Waffle House waffles.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I reached out to Alex Campbell earlier, which is Cooper's mechanic, and just wanted to ask him, hey, like, how much more work was this week? How many more hours? What did you have to replace? He didn't give me details of what he had to replace, but he said that Sunday was an 18-hour day as opposed to normally a 12 to 13, so 5 or 6 more hours of work on Sunday to get the bikes prepped for the next race before they left the stadium.
It just seems like they would just start with a new bike. You know what I mean? Like get Yamaha, just give them all new rolling chassis. They throw race.
No, the riders don't want the new chassis. I like the ones.
Fair enough. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they want the chassis they've already been using. Okay, last segment of the night's FXR picks for Philly. Once again, it's a showdown, so we're gonna do 450 podium and 250 podium. But go ahead. What's the timeout?
We never talked about our fantasy.
Good point.
I did 88 points. So I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I didn't do much. I think I did worse.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm about to get there.
I had like 5 guys that didn't get any points.
Like
Faulkner was one of my guys. Let me get the ProX read. I got to find it because I skipped over it. All right. ProX is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro, Yamaha, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, and SLR Honda. They've been supplying quality components for almost 50 years, from complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance, including filters, chains, and sprockets. ProX aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. Find ProX at your local dealer or visit pro-x.com and search for parts for your bike. Again, my chains and sprockets on my KTM 350 are all ProX, crushing it. All right, so yeah, my points in the Vital League or in the MotoXpod League were 76. Pretty terrible.
I didn't do as terrible.
Yeah, I was 118th overall. No, 156th overall. I'm 118th in the overall league. Sorry. 156th overall. I had my worst picks were Oldenburg with 2 points, Chiz with 1, Harrison with 0, Robin with 0, Faulkner with 0. Mumford didn't even race, and I didn't take him out. I think Miller had 0. No, Miller might have had a couple, but yeah, those are some bad.
I just can't pick Faulkner anymore.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was bad. But Vital MX, sign up for the fantasy game, get in the MotoXpod League. It's a lot of fun to play. And we can talk shit. Go ahead.
I had 98 points.
So you beat all of us?
Yeah.
It's like 10 points separated each.
Yeah, I was 598 overall.
On the page you're looking at, does it say who won and what their
No, because I don't.
Okay.
I got it right here. Hold on. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I just wonder how much we lost by, like if the winner was like crushed us.
Oh, the highest score?
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. You talk about your stuff. I'll look it up.
Well, here, let me pull my team back.
We don't have to get too much into it. We got to get the show wrapped up.
I think it was like, I saw it. It was like 160 something. The highest score was like 270.
All right. That's a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Compared to us.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, it's a mutter, so this one's hard, but like, I'm trying to like do it to where I pick more people, because that seems to be the ticket.
I think I had
but like even in doing that, it's like at some point you got to pick some guys that are going to get good points, and then like I keep getting to the 7, like the number like 7 people, 8 people.
Not enough.
I know. Well, I was good enough this week.
Yeah, I guess so.
You guys.
True.
I had.
But if I had got my 11 with points, like Faulkner should have been in. Robin should have gotten some points. Like
but what does he get? Like 3 points?
I don't know, man. It's usually double digits for a lot of these guys, but yeah. I guess it just depends. You're right.
Because I had Cooper Webb, AP, Barsha. That was first, third, and fifth. I had Mitchell Oldenburg and Kyle Chisholm. That didn't do me any favors. RJ was 14th. That wasn't great. And then I had Hymas was first.
Yeah.
So I mean, I only had out of 7 picks, only 3 of them weren't great, and I did okay, but I didn't do great.
ML needs to get us the codes so we can so we can look back and see what the winners are doing, talk about it. Like, hey, these people picked these. This is how, give people
I'll
pointers.
try to remember to talk to him about getting pick trend type things.
Yep.
All right, let's jump into the FXR picks for Philly. We'll close this thing out. We're going to do 250 showdown podium also. So, yeah,
that's going to be interesting.
FXR is designed by racers for racers with industry-leading fit, finish, performance. Progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. FXR, we push our brand to the next level to provide you with the best products possible. Used by the Muck-Off FXR Club MX Yamaha team, Mike Brown, Brock Tickle, Chris Kiefer, Benny Bloss, and many more. FXR's core motor roots, so you should visit fxrracing.com or go to your local dealership and check out the complete 2025 line. Okay, my FXR picks for Philly. Funny enough, I didn't even write the damn things down. I'm going to go Chase Sexton, Cooper Webb, Justin Cooper. 250s. I want to go like odd, like all like kind of like this last weekend, but I'm going to be smart. I'm going to go not RJ, man. Do your 450s. Let's do your 450s while I think about this.
Okay, I'm going to say Chase, Barsha, Webb.
I like the Barsha one.
I'm going to go AP, 2 motors in a row. Chase, Barsha.
Hey, there's can I while you think about your 250 team, when we go to the outdoors, we should do like the podium, like who we think is going to be on the podium, and then keep up with points throughout the
like
season.
actually keep up with the points.
Well, so basically, how far off
the
you
riders you pick.
Oh, like what Steve and DB do on the.
Let's, okay, instead of podium, we pick 3. Colt is like fantasy. We pick 3 riders that we think they're going to be on the podium or whatever, I guess. Even if they're not on the podium, we get their points.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would work. There's something different.
Yeah.
So we'll pick our podium, but we'll keep track of our podium points, even if they get 10.
And if they get DNF, then we get 0.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then person
We
with
can do
the,
that.
I
I
like
like that.
Make it more exciting. Yeah,
sure.
rather than just
But
kind of
then
shot
we
in the
need
dark.
to figure out. We need to get with somebody to do like a what do you call it? Like a reward at the end of the
like a trophy.
Like a trophy.
No, and
I'll make a trophy.
We should like the one who does whoever gets third has to do what the first one has to do something the first one says.
That's be funny.
It's got to be on air, so it's got to be like I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out.
All right, my 250 podium for Philly is going to be Hammaker, Davies, Cody Schock.
Mine is going to be Deegs.
TJ, Deegs, and Deegs.
RJ.
Oof.
And
why'd you say oof?
And Hymas.
Because he tries a little too hard and he goes down, and it's gonna be muddy.
I don't know.
I love RJ. I'd love to see him on the podium.
All right, just
you know what?
Speaking of, give me your 250.
Yeah,
because
just out of spite, I'm going to pick RJ for the win, and then Deegs second, and then Hammaker third.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to miss Juju because if it's raining like it was this last weekend, he did race jet skis for a while.
We've already said that. When you were gone,
that's a
like
bad
trying to
joke,
have
but
like
yeah.
a dumb job, then
we
already
didn't
used
really
that joke.
talk about how the points changed. Like
That's
VL
crazy.
VL had this terrible race, right?
Yep.
But the point, and RJ went down the first turn, but nobody really got screwed on the race. The only thing that really helped was Hammaker jumped up a bunch of points. I think,
But he's still like 5th or something, isn't he?
no, he's tied now with VL for first. They both have 99 points.
Yeah,
I didn't
and then,
realize
and then RJ's 3 back,
So,
and then Hymas is like 5 or
Seth
6.
made up 13 points. RJ, I think, made up 7 points, and VL got 0 points. So it just tightened it all up. But it didn't like just destroy VL.
It made the championship
Yes.
Do
great.
you
super tight now.
think VL can still hold on with those guys?
No.
No.
No,
I don't.
I think I said
Because-
last week that I'm picking Hammaker for the title.
Well, and now Hymas is back in it, and he's healthy. He's getting healthier.
Yeah, but he's still enough out that I don't.
He's like 8.
That's who
That
I
was
was.
more than that.
That's
No,
who I
hold
was
on, I'll
thinking.
pull it up.
Whenever
I got it
whenever
right here.
you said that was.
oh yeah, you're right. 8 points. Good job, Scotty.
Oh my God, I actually knew something.
Well, and I just gave you props.
I appreciate it.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Scotty was right one time.
yeah,
No, it's been more than once.
Hymas
but,
is
you
the
know,
one that's
Who's
4th.
counting?
Hymas is 4th is what I was thinking. Hymas. Hymas. Is it? Do you say it like Jewish? Like Hymas?
That's what it felt like you just did. That's why it's making fun.
I'm going to pick RJ. I think
Okay.
I think he just figures out a way
But
to
it's
do
pretty
it.
cool how and Vial has yet to win. So until like
until like literally like the last 3/4 of a lap, it was about to be like Vial's championship to lose, and then
It still is.
no, he was about to have like a 15-point gap.
Oh, I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
Until he ghost rode his bike over the finish line.
and then all of a sudden he went from like a 15-point lead to tied. Because like they were showing the points as they run, and it was like 15, 16 points.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty damn impressive. There's been hang on, I had a note here that I wanted to point out, and I don't know where it went.
Impressive.
Give me a second.
All right, yeah.
Yeah,
Just takes time.
just
Great
dead air.
radio,
Dead
bro.
air.
Come on.
All right, I don't. Oh yeah. So what is it? Six different winners, right, in the East.
There's like 12 or something like that all together. So or 13.
There's like almost 20 for the whole
Yeah.
Supercross.
Yeah.
thing.
I know it's just been a crazy year. Like and the points leader or one of the points leader hasn't even won a race.
Yeah. And I think
Deacon's the only one that's won two.
Two, yeah.
well, he's going to have 3 this weekend.
Okay, we're gonna find out. All right, guys. I want to thank our guest, Gage Linville. Wow, I was gonna say Cody Shaw because we're talking about our picks.
Colt?
You do realize that you have to basically like maybe in a couple weeks it'll die off, but for the like everybody in the chat was like just waiting for you to screw up tonight.
Oh yeah, well,
like you
thanks to Colt Nichols,
you have to be perfect.
Gage Linville, Logan Leitzel, and Alex Gillespie for jumping in. I want to thank our title sponsors, Race Tech and Yamaha Motor USA, as well as X Brand, Evans Coolant, Guts Racing, T-Bolt USA, Barnett Clutches, ETS Racing, FXR Picks, ProX. Like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And if you're the dude that called in a pulp and ratted me out, F you, dude.
Can't do that, dude.
We'll be back next week with another show to kick some ass.